We're gonna call the Pownell Select Board meeting to order on Thursday, June 14th at 2018 at 7 PM for agenda approval, public comments, approval of minutes, warrants, mail, and then we're gonna do the Pownell Historic Society presentation of the town office proposal, then transfer station supervisor. Under old business, we got blacktop big, magnesium chloride contract, website newsletter, large gathering ordinance, and illegal, which we can actually move to last. And under new business, we've got web policy, site policy. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve?
Get a second? Okay. Anything to be added? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, any public comments this time? None. Approval of the minutes of Tuesday, June 12th?
So moved.
That's the special one? No. Which is
No,
which?
yes, special meeting.
This is what we just had. I don't know what date it is.
Yeah, Tuesday, June 12th. Special meeting. You got a motion to approve
As amended?
As amended, right?
as amended, which was basically we amended the who was present and being it that it was applicant. Okay,
Second.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Pownell Select Board, Thursday, June 7th, regular meeting.
So
Move to
moved.
approve.
Second on that. Got it?
Second, aye.
Okay, any discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes, warrants. That way I get a better chance to tip it over. Okay, payroll ending 6/15/2018 in the amount of $7,372.55. Accounts payable ending 6/15/2018 in the amount of $36,390.63. Pending County Sheriff was $3,797. The Water Technologies was $5,562. That's testing the wells. And the other was Mechanical Solutions Inc., which was $3,952. And Baker was $6,120, and Tam was $4,000. So the big ones. Got a few of them that time. Which pleasure, guys.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on any of them? All those in favor say aye.
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 Mail. Okay, the BCRC has sent down a request asking us to sign to do with the Bennington County Brownsfield program. Basically, what they're looking at is at the Pownell landfill site. This is where the solar array is being installed. And one of the things is they have to do a study and a report on the site where they set these things, especially when it's a landfill. And basically, the BCRC suggested it be a brownfield registration, and they approved that. And I want to see where I made it clear. And this is a phase one, which would include the entire parcel. So when you look at it, it's all 30 some odd acres that would be looked at. Just so you know, it's not just one small spot. And they've got the site eligibility approved, and they're looking for a quick turnaround. They actually talked about maybe meeting on Monday over there to get started on this. So what's your pleasure? I think we have to sign an agreement to let them go on the property.
Move to sign.
Get a second? Then we'll do more discussion.
Second, but I want it made it clear, I didn't think he made it clear that that's where the transfer station is,
Yeah, it's transfer station,
property,
yes.
over there.
Yeah, this is not the Superfund site.
No.
Good point. This is the transfer station site of the two landfills there. Because you're right, they consider that a landfill down there too.
Right.
Thanks, Ron. I'm trying to find where I signed this now. Right there where Linda was nice enough to put a little sticker.
That's right.
That says sign.
Yes. It's okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any nays, abstentions? Okay. Okay, take care of that one. Okay, we're being asked to be advised that the Listers Board will need to extend the NIMRIC's contract through the end of the year, as we do not have trained appraisers in our office, and our first initial training will not take place until August 2018. We have contacted Ed Cutler and are awaiting his reply. We will keep you updated. This is, it's just for information for us, because we'll see a contract, and then at that point we'll move, because we need to know what we're paying them, so. But I agree, we need people there that have the knowledge until we get trained. Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
No nays there, right? Okay, I'm gonna do that one last. And we have a request for Bridges Out of Poverty workshop on June 22nd. The pleasure is that, well, these people requesting, you're okay with them going, right?
Yes, I'm okay with them. That's Rebecca Dragon and somebody else that
Yeah,
want to
Bob.
attend that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, anybody that wants to go training or to a thing to help the town, we're for it. We've been informed by the chair of the planning commission that they have had a resignation from Rick
Morgenthau.
Morgenthau. I was looking for his last name because all he said was Rick in there. And basically, I'd like a motion from the board to accept his resignation with regrets and thank him for his service.
With regrets.
Get a motion, you get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We also have a request for someone to be assigned to the planning commission because now we have a vacancy. I would recommend that the board let people know out there that there's a vacancy, just in case we get more than one person that applies. Then we can go from there, if you're in agreement with that. Only because we just found out about the resignation.
Sure.
Okay, but would you keep this in a folder for us?
Yes.
Thanks. I thought we took care of this, maybe we didn't. We had a request from the person that was doing our painting and stuff in the bathroom, is unable to do it at the moment, and he was recommending that Tom do it. Is the board in agreement if Tom is? You're willing to do it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in agreement.
Yes.
Put on your
I'll
paint,
take care.
put on your paint clothing and, do your
I just took them off a little while ago.
What were you thinking?
And then we have a report from the sheriff, showing all the areas that they covered. I'm looking for his one-page report.
No,
He-
that's the detail one.
So he sent us the detail for the various areas.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait for the short list.
You already had the short list.
Before, that's what I went through last week. Okay,
That one came with the invoice.
so this is basically information that went with that one.
Came with the invoice.
Okay. Okay, now we have, one here, the person talking about the newsletter. They were very sad to hear the newsletter was not gonna be continued. Been a great way for me and others to learn about the town and community events and general feel. And often felt frustrated at heart. It was find out about anything happening in town, what was happening with local government, et cetera. For example, and they used to no idea when the Pownell Valley Fair and other such things were going on. And there's actually, let you know how much they love the new town newsletter. One of the questions that we had last week, I know, was we had somebody that basically said they weren't going to do it anymore. And at that time, no one was volunteering. Is anybody volunteering to do the newsletter at this time?
Sure, I'll step up. It'll be a little bit of a clunky turnover. I've never done a newsletter, but we'll get it going,
So you
and
do
it'll
the
be a
startup.
change in content.
Okay. Do you have any trouble with assisting if he needs assistance? And
I will give him it's pretty self-explanatory.
okay, but you can provide him with the stuff that he needs to do it.
We'll need to change
It'll
passwords,
be
some
very
passwords on
remedial.
it.
Yeah.
It'll have to be remedially.
Okay.
Self-explanatory, because I will need help.
Oh, yeah.
But it's MailChimp, you can always call their tech support for help.
Okay, super.
And I will continue the one that I'm doing. I will, that's launching tomorrow, my new one.
Okay. Okay, now, we have a request from the Pownell Town Clerk. She's asking for a letter from the Select Board. And a second signature would prefer for Linda. This is to do with her new account. I assume checking account, debit and credit machine. Second signature, which prefers Linda to be the person. I would also have to have the Town of Pownell EIN number. By having all this would protect the Town of Pownell and the Town Clerk. Shannon also told me if you had concerns or questions that the chairman has her email and could contact her. I tried to call her once, but she was out. And I guess the points that I'm concerned with is that for the long time, we had somebody that had a personal account, and through that process, we had trouble. There was errors over time. Now, in this case here, this doesn't look like it's gonna be a personal account, even though it was stated that's what it is, because if you use RIEN number, that's the town's responsibility, okay? And basically, the second signature she's talking about, Linda, is you. I thought she had an assistant clerk.
Yeah, I was wondering if, it had to be somebody within the office. I was wondering why it should be you.
Yeah. If the assistant clerk works for us, right? So if it's a clerk, I'm thinking of it as a clerk account, then the clerk should be responsible for her account, especially if we're not handling it the way we were and checking every detail. That's where I'm at with this. I just don't want the
I don't know what the reasoning was, why it had to be someone in the office, because if in fact she has an assistant, then.
It's her account.
Right. Would be the same as the treasurer is supposed to have an assistant.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. And I'm not sure if she can't have her own EIN number versus using the town's number.
I
She
think
explained it there.
The bank was
that
very adamant about
The
that.
bank wants that, and I don't feel that's her account. I feel that's an account she's setting up, Town of Pownell. Her name is on, but it's Town of Pownell. That's the way I understood it.
That's the way I understood. It's and just like you said, it's our EIN number. We're gonna be, if I
Well,
understood
if we
it
use,
correctly.
if we
It's
use our
her account.
EIN number, it's our account and we're responsible for that account. That's what I thought we had a treasurer to do, was to handle our money and handle our accounts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
well,
treasurer's job.
That's, town clerk is a fee-based clerk. So she's handling the money from the fees. That's what she's handling.
Yeah, and I'm
The
saying,
treasurer handles the money that goes through to, she brings things back and forth to the bank and stuff. We had town clerks before who had, Rachel had
her own
her
account.
own account, and there was never any problem with her.
Karen, well, and I agree,
But
and
did they have
Karen,
their own
I'm not arguing
EIN?
that she shouldn't have her own account. What I'm saying is to make sure that it is her account, not the town in any way, that makes the town liable for anything that would be mismanaged in that account. And I'm not saying she'll mismanage anything, but the problem is once somebody else is controlling the account, controlling the funds, doing the accounting, doing the budget checking and the auditing, all of a sudden, we're out of the picture.
Well, this is all subject to audit, to start with. It isn't like a personal checking account. This is subject to audit.
It's still a liability issue.
No, it ain't a liability issue. It's a liability issue for the town clerk, not for the town.
If it's our EIN number, it's a liability issue for the town.
First of all, we know that we're liable even if it's her name. Let's get it straight. As far as the liability goes for the funds, it doesn't make any difference if the account's in her name, all right? We found that out before. The town is ultimately responsible for all the expenses that have to be paid to the state. If they're not paid, we'll pay them. It's our responsibility. The only thing I'm concerned about is, and you're right, if we can find a way to audit her accounts, so that they're audited regularly, which means, she's got to provide them to our auditors and the outside auditor, then we're auditing and going through the process, then we're sort of covering and watching what's going on. That to me is okay. Because now you don't have somebody running their own account, managing their own money, keeping track of everything that they do themselves, and nobody knows what the heck's going on.
Okay, so we just need to get those answers, right? I think it's, how will this be audited? Who's gonna be liable? I think it does have to be our EIN number, but I could be wrong about that, but let's find out
I'll talk to
if
the
that's
bank,
true.
I'll call the bank and find that out.
But she, my understanding is she did reach out to the VLCT, and this was an appropriate process.
Yeah. Some towns do it this way,
Yeah.
but they also do the auditing, and that's the piece. Let me, if you want, I'll check a little more, and then we can readdress
She
I
this.
just-
think she
Stated last
said she was
meeting.
planning to have it audited.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
our
I think
minutes,
She
Yeah.
she did say that.
that it was subject to audit.
But we
That's
should
what I
still, we
understood.
should still check what the legality is. I mean, I don't know.
I know that I can go up personally and start an IEN account and run my own funds through it and have it monitored by the state and so forth. Because as running as an official, I can do that. Because you have to by law if you have more than $500 in it. But all you do is ask for an IE number and they give it to you. And you run it. That's the piece that I guess why not just have her own and do her own thing with her money? And maybe it's because of this auditing process that's gonna happen, because I assume our town auditors are gonna audit her account.
That's my assumption also.
I would think that that's what's gonna happen.
She's probably has no problem with the outside auditor as well.
Well,
That's
we'd
right.
have to do that.
Outside auditor is gonna do it too.
That's
It
right.
isn't just our
Yeah, it
auditor.
isn't just.
Yeah.
Our auditors will look at it. That's why we have an outside audit.
Well, that's what we're
To
doing.
make
this-
sure, see if there's any problems found with our people. I mean, not that there, I'm insinuating there would be,
Well-
but that, it's a double check. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they only do it periodically, the
Well,
outside auditors.
well, let's be upfront. For a year now, come July 1st, the money has been going into our treasurer with the clerk that's working for us today, and it's being audited by an outside auditor, and it's being audited by our inside auditor. That process has worked for a full year. The problem is all of a sudden there's some policy change that, and how that money has to be handed in is what has started all this. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
So the
that's
question
it.
really is, are we trying to recreate something because our policy's wrong? Or, so now all of a sudden we end up with two separate types of accounting that we have to deal with? Or should we be just looking at the policy and making a correction if it's necessary?
That's a good question.
That's my
but if I-
suggestion right there. We look at the policy and correct it so that everybody can live with it.
It's just then,
I mean, we
then
got
we don't
enough-
worry about somebody having our IEN number. The treasurer has it and that's it.
Mhm.
And our account access is only by her, not other people. I'm just trying to lessen the chance for something to go wrong, and not because it would go wrong intentionally, but why would we do that?
I don't have a good answer. I think we need to investigate and find out. My understanding is that this is a policy that other towns use, just like you said, and she's within her rights to do it if that's what she wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
So that, and if she chooses to go that route, I'm not sure that we can stop her.
Well, I don't think we can stop her either, but the question I ask is, why is she doing that if it was a policy change? Because like I said, she's been
And maybe
doing it
it's
the
just
other
the
way for a
policy.
year.
That's true. Maybe it's just, we'll take a look at the policy and see if we can adjust it and make it acceptable.
Then we're not reinventing the wheel once again. We're trying to. Because we knew we had a problem, we reinvented so we wouldn't have this problem. Now it sounds to me like we're going backwards a little bit. But that's me. But you guys can vote if you wish to do all the others. But I can call the bank. Like I said, I tried and I didn't reach them, so, but I can certainly try again. I've been busy working on a contract.
So this was mostly over the policy of the 2-hour window of turning in checks.
Well, it's not the 2 hours windows turning in a check. I think it's the fact that somebody
handing
doesn't
it
get
in
paid.
person.
Somebody can't get paid for 3 weeks from what I read in there,
Well, they're two separate policies.
you know.
We're talking about
Yeah,
two
we're two
completely
separate
different
policies.
policies.
Yeah, because,
And the one with getting getting receipted when you turn in money seems perfectly reasonable. The other one I didn't read as carefully, so that's the one that I
nobody
think-
should wait for a paycheck. My saying.
The other policy came from
2011.
someone else. So That one we didn't, we signed the policy about the receiving a receipt in April, but that one was from way before my time,
2011.
so.
Yep, 2011.
But all
That's
of a
the
sudden
one
they
we could
started
look at.
doing
I
it?
mean, I don't know if it's both policies that are at issue for her, or if it's just mostly the one. I honestly, I
Well,
don't know.
let's say inform her that I'll be contacting the bank, and I'd like her to look at these policies and tell us what would be appropriate for her to not have to worry about having a separate account for herself and going through this process. If we can figure out what the policy should be. And if we can't, then we'll go forward.
That sounds reasonable.
That sounds reasonable.
I mean, but that's the thing, that last policy, I only got one flash look at it and signed it right away, which I don't think that should happen here either, as far as policies go. You know, when we holler about policies, we ought to go through them things, each one. Take a policy, whether it be the policy for the town crew work, how they do it or something. Take it, everybody take it home, the following week, come back in, highlight what you found wrong, then do something with it.
Well,
But as far as just bickering back and forth, well, geez,
That's
that's
great.
in the policy, that wasn't in the policy, and this and that. Some people haven't even read them things.
I agree.
It's about asking the right questions. I mean, going back, the policy didn't come with a standard operating procedure, and how does it impact your daily workflow? And that's the kind of questions that you should be asking when we're signing off on a policy.
Well, I'm hoping that one of the tasks, if we move forward with hiring a town administrator at some point, that he would do what you just said. Take
I
a
would hope
policy
so.
out and sit down with that crew,
Yeah.
go through it line by line and say, okay, how do we, what's wrong with this in your mind? Then we can say what our policy is, why it is, and then come up with something that's agreeable and workable.
See, my suggestion would be to wait and let the town administrator come in and decide on this, and if she can hold off on opening her account, and if she can turn in the money and get the cash receipts. I don't know about, the other one is, I think that policy is about, nothing stops her from turning in her invoice for being paid, so that policy isn't really even enforceable. So.
Well, I hope it hasn't been enforced.
No, I don't believe it. I don't think so. But so, do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So maybe because she already wrote she's willing to
Well,
wait.
I'll contact
to
the
the end of
bank,
the
I'll
fiscal
move
year.
forward with that. Let's face it, that's gonna take us a week before I get back here. Anyways.
Right, but we, just one caution though, is we need to be careful about what we dump onto I mean, we have a lot of expectations for the new town administrator, and he's gonna have a lot of things to do. He or she is going to have a lot of things to do on start day. So this won't be covered day one. So it's not like we're putting it off for a couple of weeks, because he's gonna come in and.
We
and-
set priority.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but is this really our top priority?
I think this would take not even an hour.
Well,
If someone
and
really
that's-
took the time to
that's-
go
Well, I
We
through
think
might
it.
be
that's
able
what-
to ask him before he
but I
starts,
think-
if
but
he's
I think-
already got if he's
but I-
already got an idea on a policy.
Yeah, or the other side of it is, we can ask him that question, and if he said, hold it, this thing's gonna take time, then you're right, then we have to look at it differently.
It's gotta take at least enough time for him to meet with all of the principals and make sure that everybody agrees with the new policy and the new operating procedure, and how does it impact their workflow.
That's what you have to do.
It's my understanding the policies are drawn up by the selectmen. And the administrator, whoever, will be taking direction from the selectmen. He puts in his input or something, which that's the way I understand this program. Now, what I'm saying is it's pretty simple to take one of them policies down. They're not huge. I don't care which one it is, whether it's, and go through it. We each get a copy, take it home, highlight what maybe a lot of people will only have one thing that's on there. There's 5 selectmen, then we decide.
We do have it. It was
Don't
emailed
argue
to us, so
about
we
it.
all have
No,
it.
and we shouldn't argue about it, but at the same time, the one piece that we need to cover is we wanna make sure the people that those policy affect have input. We'll make the final decision, there's no doubt about it. But I agree with you, I think the other one went through so fast,
There was no
We didn't do-
input on anybody.
that's right, and I think that's what we need to do, is to say, okay, we've got this in front of us, we're gonna look at it, but we want this person to look at it, we want Tom to see it, we want Joel to see it, Then we want their input, and then we can discuss it afterwards, the next meeting, after it's been given to us, and get that all together as one, and then decide, versus, oh, I wrote this policy up, here it is, will you approve it?
And the other thing is that I don't think that there was a good communication with how, everyone didn't seem to get the policy at the same time, or didn't realize, or, you know, so.
Well, they might have done the same thing the selectmen did. We're so used to shoving a policy out there and not having a process where they actually go through it. We'll say, here, look at this policy, they're gonna vote on it Thursday. They'll put it on their stack to do, and they might never look at it.
Mhm.
And we're approving it. We wanna make sure they do, and that's our task. And I think it's gonna be actually the administrator that'll do some of that, if we get one on board, and basically work with it that way. But again, let me proceed with the EIN with the bank and the other questions to see where it is. And I can talk to Vermont Leagues of Cities in town too, to find out, sometimes when you ask the question, you get different answers based on how you ask the question. You know, is it something that towns are doing? Sure. A lot of towns through here are doing their own, the clerks are doing their own thing. There's other towns that aren't, and the clerk is being paid X amount of dollars, and all the money goes through the treasurer. There's a lot of options here that we need to better understand before we say, well, here, otherwise what you got is you're gonna end up with somebody that's disgruntled over something. They're gonna come in and say, here's what I'm gonna do and here's how I want it, without really understanding that there might be a way that they can get around that, because we are the ones that make the decision.
Mhm.
I agree with you 100%, and you're the guy to research that, because you're the email guy. But I think we should move along, because this shouldn't be held up in a long term.
No.
We gotta we gotta address this right away.
I can get some
Can you do
email.
it for next week?
Yeah, I can get some email out tomorrow, and hopefully they'll be responding by next Thursday.
Yeah, and the only reason I was saying, because she had written she didn't want to do anything until the end of the fiscal year anyway.
Well, she
So
said
that's
she
what I
said she
was-
would hold off to then, but she's
Right.
still gotta set this stuff up. So if we don't okay it until then, well, then she still has to set it up. I don't know
That's
how long
right.
it takes to do this stuff. I'm not a banker or email guy, but I know if I went down, I did get a dual checkbook, and it took a week.
Yeah,
Just to
before I
have two
send it.
names on a checkbook. See, and I don't think we should go through this and make this a lifelong process
Well,
like
the
we
other-
do everything else.
The other thing that she's asking for, which I think is probably a good thing, is the credit card debit
Yeah,
thing.
credit and
Yeah.
debit card.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I don't know how many people walk through the door, sometimes when I'm here on Sunday, to wanna pay something, and
Sure.
they could strike it and it'd be paid
It's easy
without
to
me ever
set,
doing
check.
it.
easy,
There's no
easy to
bouncing.
set up a credit card system.
Yeah,
We'll lose
so-
the balancing. But one thing just to be cognizant of is she's agreeing to not use it until after, but if this is the route she's going, she'd like to set it up in advance.
Which is understandable. So I'll send something off tomorrow. I'll put it on my to-do list for tomorrow.
Okay, let's move along.
Okay, moving on. Okay, I took care of our mail, guys.
We have some fun stuff.
You wanna be here to 10 again?
And where are we at now? We're ready for a presentation?
No, we don't.
Yeah. Presentation, I guess.
Let's have it. We shuffled the agenda, Tom.
Why?
We wanted you to have some rest. We know you want to see this presentation on in town hall.
I feel like I'm back in theater.
Lay this out too, for this one.
I want a different tree.
I don't know if they grow here in the Northeast.
I don't know about that tree.
We're waiting for our money tree to put in there,
Okay.
to where,
We should have done that. We could put little bills in it.
money tree, that's what I should have done. And because money grows on trees, this is what we're gonna do. I'm Joyce Held from Powell Historical Society, and I'm joined by my husband Ken, who's president of Historical Society, board member Pauline Gutlow, and we actually have another board member here, Walter Klinger. And I know that some of you have heard about it, some of you have read about it, so I don't want to bore everybody by going over from day one, but I do want to give you a quick overview so then we can move along and get to the good stuff. When we were first approached by the school board asking if the society was interested in Pownell's last standing original one-room schoolhouse, we certainly had our concerns on how we could save it and put it to use. It now sits on private property with no water and has limited access. Pauline, who's a designer, general contractor, and decorator, came up with a concept that was perfect, not only for the school, but for the town and its taxpayers. What if we could save the historic school building, answer the need for a new town hall, and help keep the cost down so it wasn't a large burden to the taxpayers? Plus, have a Pownell History Center. PHS, the library in the town clerk's office, gets many requests each year from people doing genealogy. And according to ABC News, genealogy is the second most popular hobby in the United States after gardening, and the second most visited category of websites. I bet you nobody can guess what number one is.
You don't want to guess, I
You
think.
don't want to guess. We're the first legitimate one. Researchers come to Vermont from all across the United States and Canada to walk the walk of their ancestors. And a Pownell History Center would be a designation for them. So this concept addressed all of these needs plus more. And knowing that Pownell residents on the whole recognizes the need for a new town hall, which I think we're all enjoying that idea right now as we squeezed in here. And with Pownell owning the land that's perfect for our proposed plan, the concept was perfect. The concept is, and as you can see this here, our little dollhouse, to construct a new town hall on the Bartell property owned by the town, in keeping with the flavor of the Pownell Center Street Historic District. We would use modular construction for the core of the town hall. That would be these two. Okay. And then we would move the historic schoolhouse from the present site and attach it to the modular core. That would allocate the schoolhouse to become the selectmen's room. So they would have the historic one-room schoolhouse as the selectmen's room.
And women.
Construct a full walkout foundation beneath the schoolhouse, and that room would be the Pownell History Center.
Which part?
Right down here.
Underneath.
Pauline, Ken, and I started investigating and researching how to bring this concept to fulfillment. Here's what we've done so far. We met with the school board and got their permission to proceed. We visited the school many times to check it out, take measurements, and we drew up plans. We made the model of the building. We contacted Energy Star rated preferred building systems located in Claremont, New Hampshire to cost out the concept. We contacted and met with Mike Connor, a well-known Vermont mover of buildings, for a quote. We contacted Daly's for a price on cement cost. We contacted Green Mountain Power for costs and incentives. We met with the Assistant State Fire Marshal. We had the school inspected by Catamount Environmental, who gave us their okay. We have scheduled meetings with the select board, where we're here tonight, and the planning board, which is next week. Having Pauline on our committee, who is a building expert, is a great asset. She helped us with viewing the site, creating the drawings and the model, and also researching cost and the time frame. We have saved the town the cost of these services.
I want to turn that a little bit so the camera can see the other side of it. If I go it around. And they can see where the space underneath is as well. Thank you.
Good news is, once this proposal is passed by the town residents, estimated time to have the new town office is 3 months. Once the building is delivered at site, it takes 10 to 14 days to finish. This means if we could have a town vote by the 1st of August, we could actually have a new town hall before winter this year. And listening to the select board meetings, it sounds like if the town doesn't move on the new town hall, the taxpayers will be faced with putting more money into this building. I think I heard $91,000 for upgrade of the foundation. Estimated cost for our concept comes in around $525,000. The town has $181,000 in the present municipal office building fund, leaving approximately $344,000. I'd like to pass out a little handout here. Pass them around. And I'd like to turn this over to Pauline, who is going to explain the plan, and then we'll have, if you have any questions, we certainly would love to answer them.
This right here is the, well, it'll be easier if I stand over here. It's divided actually into 3 sections. This right here is a modular core, with this portion of the modular core being the fireproof records room and the town clerk's office. Over here is the attached one-room schoolhouse. And so all the offices that are required are primarily in this center, with one of them being in, as the one-room schoolhouse stands now, there's a space that could be used for a small office. So with that, each of the necessary offices, the square footage, and I won't go through it, are provided. There's a hallway that wraps around and with access to this new selectmen's room. And there would be a door to the exterior that would be required for the selectmen's room as well. There's going to be a stairwell going downstairs, but that's not for everyday use. However, the good part about having the foundation underneath here is you come down and you can reach the mechanical room. You can take, and rubbish and storage can be accessed by whoever cleans up the town hall. And for us, we would have access on this level, and so it would be handicap accessible, and this would be our area right here for the Historical Society, for the town for all our historical town records. There's not enough room to keep in your fireproof records room all the kind of material that we have. The Helds have tons of material they've gathered and collected. So having this space for research here is just quite wonderful. We would also require a handicap bathroom, and there's room there. So where it's outlined in black, that would be a 9-foot foundation. And then this area in here can be a 4-foot frost wall, if so desired, or it could be expanded also to be a full foundation, whatever one's pleasure. It would keep the cost down if we make this a frost wall, but I am actually waiting for the cost for both, so that we know what is, if it's not that much, maybe it's worth it. That's ideally, there's parking right up here on this level. There's no stairway is necessary, so it's all handicap accessible. Does anybody have any questions?
Board have any questions?
So I do, for the cost, for the labor costs, do you say the person who moves buildings? I couldn't find which line item that was.
Yeah, actually I met with 2 different house movers, and there is a fellow named Mike Connor. And he not only moves buildings, he sets foundations. So what they would do is move a the building toward to the site, dig the hole, construct the foundation underneath it so it fits perfectly. And so it's kind of cool to find somebody who does both of these processes, and he's from Vermont. He also constructs foundations with an insulated core. So you have an energy efficient basement down here already. It's an R20, which is really good. Now the Preferred Builder systems, that modular company, I've used them before, and I've built 3 different modular homes. It's a fine, fine company, and they are really, really into energy saving. And of course, you can always enhance what they offer. And I don't know whether you folks are familiar with modular. The cost we have for the modular, as it stands right now, without a precise number. And to get a precise number, you have to pay $3,000 for, and they'd redraw this whole plan and give us all the specifications and so forth. Well, okay, so if we have, let's see, where was I going with this? I'm not sure. But anyway, yes, for energy efficiency, oh yeah, sorry. The way it works is a modular company, the boxes are delivered to the site. The company provides the crane, and they do the set, and they do the roof. And so all those costs are done. And so that there's very little work to be done on site. You have to finish the marriage walls. Those are where it's connected together. And since we have essentially 4 boxes, each box is 16 feet long, wide, and 50 feet long, these 3. And this one, for the fireproof records room, is only 32 feet long. So 16 feet for each portion of it. And so virtually, so you get this. Once it's set, it's practically done, you have to do siding and finish the interior. You have to put the floors down. Siding, you can actually, before you side it, you can actually wrap it with additional insulation, which I recommend. And as far as the siding goes, to really match our one-room schoolhouse, it seems to me it would be better to remove the siding on there, which isn't in very good shape, and to use the same sort of siding material on this, on the new core, so it will all match. And also, it's got a pretty good slate roof on it. Needs a little work, but we could find architectural shingles that will match, pretty well match the slate. Also, this is designed so that if in the future someone wants to put photovoltaic collectors on the back side of the building and it's sited exactly right, the wiring can come down this shaft that's also used for radon remediation. So it's a really slick process to do a modular. They don't have to look, they're totally different than manufactured homes. And you can build them so no one would even guess that they're a modular construction. Actually, modular construction is built beautifully. It's in a controlled environment, whereas the poor carpenters are up in 0-degree weathers trying to pound nails. So
I wonder if it's like an old-fashioned kind of barn raising, so some of the cost in here is about the siding and doing floors and so on. And if we have contractors in town, we have electricians in town, we have plumbers in town.
yeah.
So I wonder if we made, a huge town effort to have people come in and all work together to help build it. It gives some ownership to the citizens of the town, and it would reduce cost. And I don't know if that's a crazy idea, but it seems like a good community building thing to do.
No, we've discussed that.
Altogether.
We've
Yeah.
discussed that, and then that would, but we felt that we needed to
You have
say
to
that-
present it in its full
Right,
cost,
exactly.
right?
But there's all kinds of ways that we could lower the price.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have, say, the town, somebody might want to pay to have the town clerk's office with a plaque out in front that says the Rachel Mason Town
Yeah,
Clerk's
exactly.
Office. There's all kinds of ways, steps going up, whatever it is, all kinds of ways that maybe we could accumulate other
Do some
Right.
fundraising
And the town of Wells,
have people help
they
them.
went, when they were building their town office, they approached, like Telescope. Telescope bought the vault for the town office. Of course, the Slate Company came for the roof, so there's different things. And yes, that's definitely
Yeah.
something. And it should be a community spirited thing. And that's definitely what we want it to be. We want everyone to feel like it's their town
Exactly.
office.
You just-
Let's work together
Exactly,
to get
that's
it.
what I was-
Yeah. And oh, by the way, we're helping not only the town, we're helping ourselves because we won't get hit with high taxes. Yeah. So, yeah, there's some really good ways to do it.
Mhm.
We wanted to hit you with the full price first.
Right.
Ronnie, you got anything?
I don't know, I didn't research it. I didn't see any chimneys.
No.
Any electric heat?
I wanted to talk to you about that, actually.
We're already reaching out to the community.
You can't talk to a decrepit old man. You gotta talk.
No, actually, you could use electric heat if you wanted. We do have a furnace sitting down there that isn't all that old. I didn't know whether that was, we could partially use that for the selectmen's room. But if we insulate the bedevil out of this thing, it will keep the utility costs down. So,
How about a heat pump?
could do that. So I haven't gotten that far on, with the heating and do you want AC? I mean, maybe,
Well, that's
I
where,
don't know.
with the new heat pumps and stuff, that's
That
where you're
you
at.
can do that.
Exactly.
And, so,
That would be important for archival reasons.
Yeah,
That's true.
anything to control climate's good.
Where's the cost come from? Who's paying for most of the service of this building?
Ongoing costs, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, moving the building and all that. I know there's a guy coming in, but who's paying that? Is it all?
That's all
That's
part of
all
this
in there.
cost.
That's all.
Basically, what would happen is there's some money that we have saved, the rest would go out to a bond vote. So the taxpayers would be the payers of the final cost. The estimate right now, looking at this, is $527,000. And I assume that's for the completion.
yeah.
So there's no,
But we
the
have-
527 has no extras that we still have to negotiate, is that correct?
No, and we also have 181,000 in, am I correct? That's what I
We
asked.
already have-
in
Yeah, I'd
our
have to look,
call.
but
Yeah,
I'm-
I think that was quoted that, so I'll go with that. at
So
the
you're,
town
you're
meeting.
quoting on the high end, where, of, if we're having to pay for everything as opposed to, like, if, what we were just talking about, this part would
We
be
are.
lowering the cost. So
Yeah.
But
this
we
is
do
the
have
high
to take in
estimation.
consideration that prices do go up, as we all know,
Yeah.
and especially when things are going on now. Interest rates could go up, prices could go up, so, we need to, we're quoting this now, and I think we have the cement, I think, locked until
I do,
fall,
yeah.
whatever.
Right.
But, we do need to, and the fact that we're on the verge of putting 91,000 into this building,
That's good.
Yeah.
we as a town need to do something, be it this or be something. We
No,
need to do
100%.
something,
Yeah.
because every time we take a lump of money and put it into this building, that's less of a lump of money that we can take from the cost.
I agree.
So subtracting the 181, we're down to 322,000. Well, that's not, I mean, that's not terribly bad. I mean, that's, and we could probably bring it down if we get that community spirit
Exactly.
going, and,
And can we mortgage that?
Yes.
That's what, when I
Oh, yeah,
say
it would
bond
be
vote,
bonded.
that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, basically what happens is, if you don't have the money in a fund that's there to pay this off, what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to go to the voters and you ask for a bond to approve expenditure of that money, because you can't spend money you don't have without the approval of the voters. They'll approve that. Now, yes, I agree that there's money that we have now that would subtract from the 527,000. So whatever the bond would be whatever the cost is in addition to. And that's where we'd come in with the final numbers after you talk to Peters and wherever it is. And then we'll see what we have to put out to a bond vote. Now, the August idea isn't bad. I would do it the same time they're doing the primary.
And
So that you
that's
don't
in
have to,
August.
so you don't have to do an extra vote.
Wonderful.
And if you can't get it together by then, I would say November for sure, because November is when the largest turnout will probably
Right,
come.
then we would be building it in the wintertime.
Well, it's modular, right?
Yeah, but you still get the roof on and all
Move,
that, yeah.
move the town hall or
It just,
the old
it just feels
schoolhouse.
right to have it done for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, we'll have something else to be thankful
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
We,
And the
uh,
fact that, in the meantime, y'all gonna have to do something here, so
Oh,
the
yeah.
quicker the better.
Does anybody in the room
And-
have,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, does anybody in the room have the expertise to say how traditional construction compares to modular? I mean, what
Yeah.
happens 50,
I do, Sean does.
I think that's a good question and one on my
Ronnie
mind.
does.
You know, 50 years.
I've worked on one of her modular houses, Incas was
Yeah,
very nicely built. I just finished work and so forth, very nicely built.
They're
Well, the
essentially
question-
And I was
the
actually thinking-
same as a stick built.
Well, that's
Same
the,
thing.
yeah, the question is, what's the
That's good.
cost between the two? Is it cheaper to buy a modular than it is to have a stick built?
yes.
I think the answer is yes too.
Yeah.
I have,
Yeah.
Right, but my
Just show
question
them. Children
wasn't
all have
as much
modules.
about cost, it was
Yeah.
about,
Right.
50 years from now, 100
Yes,
years from
that
now,
is-
what two buildings, you build both of them, which one, what do they look like 100 years from now? Or what do they look like 50 years from now?
What is this siding you were talking about?
Well, we have an
Just
option.
for curiosity.
We could do vinyl, we could do, okay, you don't want that. So, we can do.
That's American House plastic.
Yeah,
I don't want
okay.
that.
We can do the cementous type siding.
what we
And-
have at the wastewater.
Yeah. And, so, in all honesty, I'm trying to work a deal. Certainteed is an affiliate of Preferred Builders. So I've kind of written a little letter to them begging for them to provide us the siding, the trim, the cultured stone for the base, the roofing, and all they can say is no. If in fact they were to say yes in exchange for, PRing this
Town
whole,
office.
yeah, this is a really cool,
Idea,
yeah.
to take the old
Project.
historic building and
Yeah.
turned it, yeah. I mean,
So-
there is a story, so.
So
yeah.
if
It is
in
a
fact
very
they will do that, I figure that is worth like $45,000. So, and that would come off the modular cost, because, Certainteed would be say, hey, Pownell, we'd love to do it for you.
I think we could get very creative with
Yeah, I
finding
mean,
money. I
really,
mean,
yeah.
and take the tax burden off.
Yeah.
Can't imagine we couldn't do some good fundraising and get people to.
The numbers that you got put together, does that come out of just picking out places to get stuff? Or has this plan gone out to contractors?
Oh, well, I've called tons of people. People I know, I called Stan, Kelson for the electric. I called a lot of people.
To get the estimates.
To get the estimates, yeah.
I'm just wondering if you put it out to get estimates from other contractors,
These
you're gonna
different
have a bidding,
builders.
kind of like a
But
bidding
what-
war on
what-
it. People are
what
gonna
kind of
give you better
contractors?
pricing on all that stuff.
But what do you think? What kind of contractors?
Well, everyone, your building contractor, electrician ones that do foundations, all that.
Yeah, I've already,
Because when you pick out, I know, I used to be a contractor.
okay,
When you pick out contractors, say, I'm just gonna call this one or this one,
yeah.
they'll give you the price that they wanna make on something versus putting it out to 5, 6, or 10, 15 different contractors. Now they come in and they're gonna go, well, this guy could get this price, but I know I can get my price down so I can get that contract. They're gonna give you a price that's a whole lot better than
You know what
than
the
just
average-
off the cuff price.
You know what the average price now of building per square foot price for a house is right now? It's $180 to $200 a square foot.
Right.
Modular company, right now is 140, I think it was to 180, depending of course on whatever. But they buy in quantity. And they don't have to pay their people as much because they're not that skilled. They do repetitious type jobs. So that all works to the consumer's benefit.
Sure.
I don't think you could build this, you could get a contractor because of the cost of material. Lumber's just about doubled. Everything's going up, and interest rates are going up. So,
Oh, here's what I've heard. I've heard two different things.
yeah,
Usually with a modular, with me, it comes as complete.
Right.
The inside sheetrock, the floors are done, the wiring's done, plumbing's done, everything's
Yeah.
ready. You set it in place, you use it. And then I heard you say, well, maybe we'll get somebody to do the floors, maybe we'll get somebody to do the electrical, maybe we'll get somebody to
That's what I was
sheetrock.
hearing.
Oh, no, no.
And that's two big
no,
different
no.
things.
The electrical is just hooking up
Hooking it
the
up.
Service.
It's already pre-wired.
And
Yes.
we might have to do a little bit with the schoolhouse, probably not that much. And the flooring, it doesn't come with the flooring. You can have carpeting, but if we wanted to match the old
Hardwoods.
schoolhouse, that's what we would put is
Hardwood.
flooring, hardwood, prefab.
Yeah, I think we're done with carpeting.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
yeah, nobody
The
wants,
plumbing is in place also,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
along with the electrical.
Yeah.
So it's like a done deal.
And that's when we begin to talk about locals doing pieces and so forth, that's why I brought that
Yeah.
up. Because most of this will be done. It's gonna come and it's gonna set in place. You know, my daughter had one, and I know usually it's plug and play when it comes to the electrical. There's so much of it that's already done that you don't really have a lot for outside people to do once it's set in place. I agree with you that if we're gonna do a different type floors, you're gonna have to do that, because bringing modulars in when there's sections, and you try to do hardwood or something first, when you try to piece that together, it's better to wait and do that afterwards.
And that's the kind of thing that I think we could get people to come together and volunteer to do,
Yeah.
putting up the siding,
Yeah.
Painting,
Yeah,
putting down the
Tell
wood
'em he can
floors. I paint a mean wall.
yeah. Well, basically, usually, well, it's according on what colors you want, but usually the modulars will come, they'll be all painted inside, everything's done, the plumbing's all done. That you can usually wait on the floors in certain areas because you want hardwood, and you really don't want to move hardwood
The
around.
select board is gonna be purple.
But the outside of it, the siding, I guess you can have it delivered without siding. I know most of the times it comes with that too. But,
Well, they can put a little bit in, but because you're joining boxes, you can't
Yeah,
do the
yeah.
whole place.
yeah, but they usually do that when they set it in place, the company. They'll just come and finish that.
Once it's here, it takes, what, 14 days? to-
Well, no, actually, it
to set
takes about 10 to 14 days to
Mhm.
build it in the factory.
Oh,
And then they
okay.
bring it here
And then-
and you set it,
Okay.
and they set it all in one day.
Okay. And then
And,
put the roof on like the next. and-
yeah, so then you, yeah,
Yeah, they tie it in. Usually within a week you're in them,
yeah,
so,
it's fast,
yeah.
okay?
So many advantages, I think, to doing this. It just sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it
So
serves,
the
it
price wise, you
serves,
can't beat it.
you know, the Historical Society connection is there, and if we're talking about historical tourism in this town at some point, I mean, there's an opportunity there. Renewable energy, you know, the heat pump, stuff like that, just, you know, and just an opportunity to get some positive, you know, being the news in a positive way, I think,
Yeah.
is better.
Definitely. Bringing people together to all work
Oh,
on
yeah.
it together. I mean, that's awesome. Except I don't like the tree.
It's okay, but the money tree's coming
Okay.
next week. The other thing too is with the History Center, if you all can remember the National Archives in Pittsfield and the amount of people that was drawn into that area to do that. Now, I'm not comparing us to that, but Pownell was a pass-through community for many, many hundreds of years. Some people stayed for a while, some left, some stayed forever. We have enormous amount of people, even though we're a small community, enormous amount of people who have roots here. Now, they might not be here anymore. We had a lady in Michigan that just recently came. We have people from Canada, but it makes it having people come to our house and look at things is a little cumbersome. And maybe we're not here, and then they get upset because we're not here. But to have a history center and to have the capability of offering that, it will be a destination.
Definitely. Were we on the Underground Railroad? Was Pownell a stop? Because there's a whole tourism push in Vermont for traveling to the African American history.
Right.
So, and don't we have an African American because they could be incorporated into here, and then we would just become. They already have a map. The Hilding folks at the Hilding House, I think, is who I went to the Vermont Tourism Summit. They already have a map with all the dotted historical places to visit. And if we got Pownell put on that map, we would be an automatic stop for anyone on that tour.
Then we can build from it. Obviously, we can't start throwing up restaurants in anticipation, but we could start seeing the number of people who are coming looking for places to stay. Now, maybe they'll just go to a bed and breakfast because we don't have a real hotel.
But it's an opportunity.
But it's an opportunity to grow.
Yeah,
and it's an opportunity
for Pownell people to create a bed and breakfast, to open a restaurant, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Create other places for people to go, for sure.
We do have a town green behind it.
Right.
And we have hosted family reunions. People come from all over, and we show them around, and we walk the walk, because they love to stick their feet on the property that their ancestors stuck their feet. It is very moving if you've never done it. And we've hosted in our home, in friends' homes, groups coming, meeting their cousins maybe for the first time. We do have a green. We could offer, not 350 people or more, because we don't want to get in trouble. But
Save some money.
We haven't voted on that yet, don't worry.
It'll be $299.
That's
we
good.
could offer, we've got room to do, a family reunion here. All you Masons come to Pownell and have a family reunion. And oh, by the way, we have a caterer in town. We have a tent guy in town. We could build on this.
Oh, for sure. So, I mean, if we had made a little garden park, sitting, picnic benches, do potlucks there for the town, that'd be awesome.
Put a gazebo up and have music every Sunday. Just all kinds of things. Pull the community together.
Love it.
Make it a community thing. Save the community a few bucks. Then we'll come out and buy that hot dog.
Very creative approach. Very
We
nice.
even have a truck that will come and serve us amazing Puerto Rican food.
That's right. And then, you get food carts. That's right.
All right,
Well, I think, thank you for putting all the work into.
Yeah, you
effort
guys
into
are
it,
awesome.
very much so. Any other questions from anybody? Okay, we wish you well, and if there's something more that this board can do, let us know. Certainly,
Yes, you can.
There is.
certainly,
What do we have to do?
Glad you
certainly,
asked.
when we get ready for bond votes and stuff of that nature.
We do have to ask, if you as a board, I mean, we need now direction on how you want us to proceed. Okay, we presented it to you, but we need directions on how we need to proceed. If we want that final fine-tuned estimate, which would be right almost down to the penny, and taking the plans and making them really work, proof that they work, we would need $3,000 to give preferred builders to do that. Okay.
Now-
So that is something.
Now, would that cover, what I'm looking for is the final price if we go to do a bond vote. So if they're gonna do their modular thing for the 3,000, we need the price of moving the building, we need
Oh, all of that
all of
is-
it,
yeah.
all of it into one, so when
Right,
you come
okay.
back to us,
Okay.
you don't just show us what the modular person has done for you because we've okayed the money for you to do that. We need a total price.
Okay.
Then we can do the math and say, okay, we'll run a bond vote, and we'll tell you how to ask for that and what to do, how to write it up. and then we'll run a bond vote and put it out there and let the people vote on it.
Okay.
But I don't wanna ask them for 527,000 if it's gonna cost you 627,000.
Right.
We need to
Get
tighten
it.
that up.
Oh, it's-
There were also a couple of optional things, right? Didn't I hear
Yeah.
a couple of, like, there's an option to, the kind of foundation is an
Yes.
option, and
To do
so
it.
those are different prices.
Yeah,
And then
I
there's-
This is
don't,
gonna add cost.
it is going
Oh,
to
that's
add
true.
cost, and do we need it for
They
anything?
need
Well,
storage.
We do?
For the cost of it today and the cost of finding what you just said, storage or other space in the future, that's probably low cost points to that.
That's a very low cost point to do that as a full basement, at least in the center section, not the part where.
And even if we don't do it,
Inside.
and-
Not with
If
the-
you
not
make
the
that a
records
full
room,
basement,
right.
all the voting booths and stuff like that could be put in there. You know, you're gonna have a dry, you know, a nice place to store this stuff. This town needs some storage, and you go next door and so forth and see it. And that's cheap. You take it down another 4 feet,
Yeah.
you got to, you pour a little more concrete, more walls.
Oh, yeah,
All in
because
all, you're getting a big bang for your buck on that.
you're paying for half of it anyways.
Exactly.
This building wouldn't go anywhere, right?
No, this would stay.
So this can also be a storage facility.
If you
But-
wanna meet and clean up some of the stuff to do with mold and the rest, then you
What-
wouldn't wanna store it here otherwise.
But if you
Yeah,
don't need it,
Come
why
back
don't
to
you sell it?
spend,
No one's
No,
gonna buy
that's,
it.
that's true.
Pretty much
Tear it
historical
down.
gift shop.
There you go, coffee shop for the people
Yeah,
that are gonna
coffee
be
shop.
visiting over there.
So what we're, well, we've got a question over here.
Oh, I was just gonna say, are you looking for a vote from the board tonight to allocate the $3,000 to move to the next step?
I guess if the board feels confident enough that we're moving forward, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna ask the
Right.
town to
First step
put
is
out
to get an
$3,000
okay.
and then next week say, oh, no, it was a nice presentation, see you later. Now you're out $3,000, the taxpayers are out
Yeah.
$3,000, whatever. So we really need, you know, we need some guidance, really, as to how the board wants us to proceed.
First of all, with the guidance is what I would want is me, then the board can decide otherwise, is a contract with someone that we sign that says, we will do this work for X amount of dollars, and that's what we vote on and sign,
But I think,
versus just handing $3,000 over.
but I think the question is, to get to that number, they need $3,000
$3,000 to get there.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's-
Not what I'm saying, listen carefully, I'm saying they're gonna talk to that person, they're gonna get a contract that says, I will do this work for $3,000, and we will sign that contract.
And then what is the output?
Okay, versus someone
Does it
just telling me,
Right.
Okay.
and I'm allocating $3,000
Gotcha.
without knowing what I'm buying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes
And
sense.
actually, that's applied to the cost of the modular if you go with them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not like three.
So,
Yeah.
I think
We've
that's the
played
next,
this issue for quite a while.
yeah, and I think this is the next step.
And the thing about it is, we've already had studies,
Oh,
we've
God.
already done a lot of things, and we spent a lot of money. Architects, all this other stuff. I mean, I'm not, I see this overview, that's fine, but they're talking about a 4-foot cellar, and then they're talking about an 8-foot cellar, and I don't know what kind of siding you're putting on. You don't know what kind of chimneys you're putting in, or what you're doing, what kind of heat you're putting in. All these things, you know, are issues that we've run up against that before. We had a committee that, and also, we talked to a very knowledgeable man the other day, and he said the most he'd go was $500,000. And it would be a stick-built building. And that was supposedly a knowledgeable person. That's who we talked to, the select board. Now, I mean, so I don't know where to go. I think the first thing we ought to do is say, hey, look, you got a net price where you can put that up? Make sure it's high enough. We never assumed that they were gonna take $91,000 to do this. But the state is highly involved with this kind of stuff. First of all, they're gonna be checking everything. The state is, you know, they got requirements. I mean, I went through it. My brother just built a garage down there in the Dugway. I mean, and I know exactly how much it can be inflated by state regulations and everything. And there's a guy back there that knows what the state can do. So all I'm saying is, if you want to put something on the ballot, it got turned down before because we didn't put it on the ballot and nobody talked about it. I'm glad you presented this presentation. I hope some people watched it, or they'll watch it on YouTube maybe, and think about it. and come up with a number that, look,
Okay.
we can do this for so much money. Have somebody commit to that, whatever it is, and get our changes involved. Then you can throw it to the people. But we throw it to the people and they turn it down, then what happens? Forget about winter. You'll probably be in next spring before you vote again, or whatever.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Or maybe 2 years down the road. I don't know. I mean, the other group, I think they did a lot of research, and we tossed it around and tossed it around. I think the biggest mistake we made is by not putting it out to the people right away. And say, look,
Give them too long.
how much are we going to spend? If you want to spend $500,000 or $750,000, you're going to vote for it? Whatever it is. Then the people got an opportunity. I don't think they have an opportunity when they're, and a lot of people, I know some people are interested in history, some people are interested in all these other things, and I got nothing against history and all that stuff, but some people don't care about that. All they want is an efficient building, which we do need. We do need some place to operate. This is a sin. And we haven't even decided what to do with this thing. Are we going to invest more money in it? Are we going to dump it? Is there something we can do with it? We just spent all kinds of money. Have smoke alarms in here, all kinds of other stuff. Phone system. We just keep throwing money at this thing. And that's why when that fellow talked about it, and I kind of thought, well, he supposedly knows about this kind of stuff. I don't know if he does or not. I'm not a specialist on this stuff. But I mean, I think that's what we need to present to the town of Pownell, the people.
Okay.
So the $3,000, I just wanted to ask you a little bit more about the $3,000 because what's in the output of that? First of all, I thought I heard you say that if you move forward, it actually gets applied. So if we move forward, it's free. So a little bit of an incentive. But would that include all of the options? Because there still were a couple of options here, like the 8-foot, the 4-foot. What kind of cellar are we?
Well, that's different.
Siding.
We provide our own foundation.
And see, like, just an example of how much money difference it is. We fooled around with this sidewalk out here.
Yeah.
It cost us a fortune. The state was involved. What you're going to testify to that, Nelson? It cost
Sure
a fortune to put that
Yes, it did.
walkway up through there.
And they had to shoot it 3 times to meet the state standards.
That's right. So I mean, that's just things that people are going to, and you'll be under the hammer when people start screaming. And
Well,
I don't want to be under the hammer when they
Right.
start screaming.
But Preferred Builders does commercial buildings. And so that's good. I mean, they have their designers, they follow the ADA regulations. They consider all this.
But-
And,
But here's
Yeah.
where we're at. Your modular is gonna be fine, I think, because you're right, they know the
Yeah.
code, they're gonna do what there is. But what we really need is the total cost, not just of the
Okay.
modular. What's the foundation gonna cost you?
Right.
What's the building moving's gonna cost? Give a total price that's accurate, so if you go to the voters, we know what it is. Now, some people, I don't know if you put one on here, you might have already, but there's usually a percentage that you put on basically, because you know it might overrun.
oh, I put a
Your
little bit.
miscellaneous,
Yeah,
that sort of stuff.
miscellaneous, yeah.
Yeah, but, and usually, this miscellaneous you have here is a couple $1,000, but usually it's
I
around
think it
10.
was 16,
Yeah, I was gonna say, usually it's around 10%.
yeah,
So you'd be looking at 50 grand difference there.
yeah.
And if you don't spend it, you don't spend it. But the key is to put all that together so that when we go to the voters, that's where we're at. Because now if we ask the voters and you get the bond and you're out there building and all of a sudden you find out you need $25,000, they're not gonna be happy.
Right.
I'd rather have you have a contingency that says this might be required because of what Ronnie just said. They'll come down and say, oh, you don't have the step quite right, you gotta spend another 5 or 6 grand.
Yes, and one fellow told us they had an engineer, a firm that priced this thing out. And this guy's knowledgeable, they've used them before. He said, I'll guarantee it'll be 20% more than the 91,000 that they wanted to fix this. I don't know, I mean, that's hearsay, but you know what, you have to give these things a little thought.
Well, the more that is, the cheaper this is.
Exactly.
Hold on, Rosemary?
I just have a question in terms of clarification, because the way you're wording things, it sounds like they're building this town office, and it really is the select board approving it and the town voting for it, but the town building it. It's not your responsibility to build this building. You're providing us with information to make that decision.
And
Yeah.
we tossed out a couple of options, which is totally up to
Yeah.
you guys,
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah,
We
but-
understand
Keeps
that, but
sound-
we have to
sounding like
answer to
they're
the
building
people.
it, and I just wanted to make that clear.
I know that,
You
Ron.
know? And
You're
people, the
absolutely
people
right.
may
So
say,
it's
hey,
all a
look,
matter of what you want, okay? Is it worth adding additional sum of money in order to give more space? For a minute ago, we heard an awful lot of hurrah, hurrah, we're gonna get more storage space.
But maybe,
But it was more money, and that's why
yeah.
it was just brought up as being an
Ken,
option. We
we've
tried
been
to
through this
keep the price
forever.
down as low as we
and what did we do first? They designed a building that would have been good enough for a town 5 times bigger than this, 10 times bigger than this. That first town hall, I mean, it even had a place for the dog officer. You know, it had a holding cell.
We had a holding
If we
cell.
got a criminal for crying out loud. I mean, come on.
You know there's no criminals in this town.
No, but I mean, this is the height of ridiculous, and all the landscaping and stuff, and all that
Street
all
lights.
concrete,
Street
street lights, lighted
sidewalks.
parking lot.
Well, this is a much better option than what that sounded like it was.
Well,
Has
it's in
that been,
keeping
has
with
that
the
been
area.
Yeah.
through the state at all? I mean, the plan, has they?
Well,
have
they had
looked
an
at it?
inspector come down and look at the plan. That, you know, that's different than someone coming in and inspecting the building, what's there, but no, he looked at the plan and, I don't know, whether there was a couple of things he talked about and I didn't know.
Just the handicap bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
there was a couple of things.
you talked
Yeah.
about that when you were
Right,
up there.
right. We originally thought 4 bathrooms, but then when we talked,
Well,
It's
two
handicap.
stalls in each
Yeah,
two
right,
bathrooms,
right.
but we're not gonna do it that
No.
way.
So where are we now? We're asking you guys to have show the contractor proposal for what the $3,000 that we approve will do. So can you guys get that together and bring that back to us next week so we can approve it? Because,
I wanna know what that's gonna provide. Is that
Right.
just gonna provide the information on the modular?
that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah,
Okay,
That's
so
for
how do we
preferred
get,
You
the
want us to
price
look
on
at-
how do we get the price on the rest of the items, if we go the full foundation
Okay.
and cement floor? Those are the things we need
Yeah.
too. Because the modular, I know is the key part, it's probably gonna be the largest cost, but we
Sure.
need the rest.
Yeah, that was the 300.
I just wanna make sure that when we go to the voters,
Got the right number.
that's right, we got 100% of what we're gonna do on the project, so we don't say, well, somebody's saying it's gonna be a 4-foot wall, and someone says, no, it's gonna be an 8-foot wall with a cement floor, so we can store stuff. That's what happened last time, we had things all over the place, and nobody knew what they really were getting, and there was too much talk for too long.
okay, that means I get to make the decisions.
Yes.
Well, I think the decision, if you want us to make the decision, I agree with the storage space, I think it's the right thing to do. If you're already doing half the wall, why wouldn't you do the whole wall?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay,
And so, from our point, I think you do the complete cellar.
Okay.
You know, I don't
Other
hear,
than
I don't hear any
other-
selectmen
other
say,
than other the town.
other than the town,
Yeah,
clerk
record
space.
room.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was the difference of 27, right? Is that what we're talking about there?
The-
Or no, that's the the Pownell History Center room is the additional 27, or additional 25, actually,
Yeah.
making it 527.
Yeah,
So that wasn't it. So we don't have a price on the,
That's
no, not a
also
9-foot wall for
just
the rest.
okay.
You don't have it, so we need that, we
Right.
need a price to know what it really means to open up the cellar and put a cement floor in so we can utilize it
and the
someplace.
padding she's given for miscellaneous is 18,000 between the two section parts.
Yeah.
So,
So, but basically, so there, what was the other decisions we need on us? With the heating decision type?
The heating, and actually, I just haven't gotten a chance to talk, but I was gonna talk with Ron and or Tom, and whatever.
Yeah, I think,
And,
well, certainly we're gonna want air conditioning as well as heat in the building. So It's probably heat pumps or something similar that can be utilized for both.
It would make sense to
Yeah.
spend the money up front that's gonna save the money for the next 50 years.
Sure, energy-wise, we're
Yeah.
talking. So I would price those out based on the square footage you have. Somebody will give you the cost of what that means to install those without too much trouble. In fact, the modular supplier might even supply those. There might be something that they do.
There also might be grants that go towards doing this with the historical
I've been in
society.
touch with Vermont Energy, and there's some, but it's not a whole lot.
Because I was just at the workshop today, and there were all kinds of grants I hadn't heard of, creative things of other towns that have done
Yeah.
building, and, I mean, I think it's something we should look for.
You should look for them and see where they are. As Ronnie will tell you, one of the things is when you apply for these grants, you can bet your boots to the inspectors and the licensed people and the rest all are
Lined up.
lined up. I know I've looked at the heat pumps through the Green Mountain Power and stuff, and the way you go is, I have a licensed plumber that's in the family, so there's a difference in what I would pay for someone that they've already approved, and you have to go to that person to do it, and it'll cost you 50% more than what you can do it, so. There's ways out there, you just have to do like you said, find out what the cost really is and where you can do it.
Well, I think we're beating this to death, and I think it was a good thing that it was presented. You got your prints there. Like I said, I think we should get this around like they did it with the planning thing. Get the word out there. Tell the people.
Yep.
Meaning, hey, look it, I don't, I gotta rely on the people making a decision here. I don't think and like I said, I talked to that one fellow there. Your price ain't that far off, but there's a lot of unknowns there right now,
And that
as far as
person,
I'm concerned.
As we're saying, we're trying to hire a town administrator at some point, and if we do, you're gonna have someone that you'll be talking to on a lot of this anyways, that might have much more knowledge than we do, so.
And that isn't far off, but I mean, right now, if you wanna work on this project, and it's just like, which, I got nothing against that. And I believe in Rosemary, I know it isn't the Historical Society. It ain't the school board either. It's the town of Pownell. It isn't just that segment, but that's how you're gonna get people to go along with something if they don't know what they're going along with.
Is there,
But I do think this was a good, informative meeting, and I think, and of course, a lot more people are saying they're watching that stuff on YouTube and stuff. They don't happen to watch it on Thursday, but they watch it.
Well, I saw you advertised it pretty well, too.
well,
so.
and we basically could, maybe get a snapshot of what the floor plan and some of the other stuff is and put it up in our newsletter.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So if you have, especially if you have some of this already electronically,
I can send you the pictures of the little.
things electronically, that helps. Okay.
Have you looked at the Preservation Trust? You've been in touch with them?
Yes.
Okay.
And we can't, if they're not going to be helpful.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Rather than us trying to cover every little detail here, I think at this point, what we're looking for is the contract that will come from the company that says
Okay.
basically they'll give us a final cost, then we can make a decision whether to approve that or not. What we're also looking for though is a final cost of what you will find out from the cement, the post cellar, the other items that aren't included in that. If the siding isn't on that, what's the siding cost? That sort of stuff. What's the roof gonna cost us if we're putting slate or what, so forth? Because if we go there, those questions will be asked on the floor when we do a bond vote. And if we're hesitant or kind of, well, we don't know, it won't pass.
Yep.
Good.
So, okay, thank you very much for
Thanks,
coming.
you
Thank
guys.
you.
And thanks for
Very
the hard
nice.
work.
Very impressive, a lot of work.
Yep.
Okay. I could leave this here if it's helpful. Do you want me to?
We can leave it here, and then we could just have
You
somebody,
can look
Linda
at
can
it,
have it somewhere where they can come
or-
and look at it.
Or I could leave both of these boards here.
What works best for you, the
Which would
boards?
rather?
Where do you want me to put them?
Yeah.
In the new town
There's a
office.
space right there, put one over the top of the other. The furnace isn't on at the moment.
Sit 'em on that heater right there.
They're not on at the moment. Well, I don't know, it was cold enough today.
Do you want to put them there? I'll leave them if you do.
Then people can come and just look and see them.
Yeah. There's a lot of information.
You know, I can't
And
believe it
we
would
can
take that
also
much,
reach out
that hard
other-
to hang them up. They're lighter than that.
Yeah. this
Tom,
is
could you hang
one
them up?
Tom,
I'll hang 'em.
Thanks, Tom.
I'll just put them over there. Somebody can do them tomorrow.
Yeah, leave with Tom, he'll take care of them. Thanks, guys. Let's take a 5-minute break and we'll come right back.
All right.
So we can hit the washrooms.
Great.
Okay, Ron. So we have.
It's intermission.
I'm
Still pushing for a potbelly
And I don't know, do we?
In your house?
I was going to call you, but I figured I'd wait till after Vermont. I think I left allowed enough money for it though, for whatever we need, for the hot water heater, the heating system. Okay. There are deals on each other. Yeah.
They're making them like air conditioners.
Yeah, right, we're just one little unit.
Maybe, I don't know.
I got a little clean out inside.
Research that. People in Sarah, I'm sure it's a big deal.
The only thing I was not confused, but concerned with was the one in the schoolhouse. I mean, we're have to insulate from the exterior. You know, stick of insulation up in the attic. And so we have to insulate that. But once we get that very well insulated, we have that old furniture and we want to, it isn't all that old. I think you put it in just a couple of years ago.
I don't think that's feasible, actually.
No.
Okay. Better off, and it's a shame, town's better off. You don't have a It is relatively fresh.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants fossil fuel anymore, and it's warm air. In the air.
That's true. Okay.
Not that I think that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Oh, they did. Yeah, my allergies, yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so, all right, so then that was another thing, because I was trying to figure out what to do about that.
And anyway, them things aren't reliable. You know, you can buy a hot air furnace for about $16,000-$17,000. One of them things like that. As far as I'm concerned,
hundreds of thousands.
we got people in here, they're whining, they can't breathe.
Right now I'm having an issue, Joel's having an issue.
And so I think that we should try to get something that is, and I don't know how efficient the heat pumps are in this
Oh,
area.
well, I think they are.
Because they are better than they used to be. Years ago, when I was a young guy and put in research to this,
Yeah.
they weren't feasible. Because the water temperature was only about 60. And my distributor down in Troy said, look, they don't function that well.
I was wondering about them too, because my husband was talking about putting one in our house.
That's the thing. I know the information must be out there. I mean, now with the internet and everything else, right a lot, I'm sure you can research that. Pretty easy.
Oh, well, I hope, yeah.
I'll have to have Nelson do it. He's our email guy.
Did you guys take a break? Are we?
Yeah, we're taking a break and here she is bothering me. Get out of the way so I can get a glass of water.
I think that, to me, I think the perspective of that being if I had my way from my board's part, building plan, I think you honestly, building a plan and peace with North Korea and war with Canada.
Blows your mind, doesn't it? Let's ask Nelson this question. Nelson, do you know what the flag is that you see around every once in a while? And it looks like an American flag, but there's no red, white, and blue. It's like a blue and black. There's one flying at the corner, just as you turn off of 7 onto the road to get to Honolulu.
But
That house has an American flag on one of these things.
What's on the agenda?
For when? Now or next?
For the next 3 hours.
Good night and good motoring.
Good night, thank you. That was great.
Let's see.
Flag underneath the American.
Is this next?
Mr. Tom, who's gonna tell us all about trash operations. And then we're gonna do a blacktop bid, which is on my bid.
Yeah, but I've seen
Chloride
this
contract really quick, we already signed it.
that's what I would
Bob's
look at.
doing the newsletter, then it's that large gathering. It's either they're gonna adopt it
Give me
tonight
a
or
call tomorrow, I'll
not.
be at the transfer station.
And then website policy, which Bob already wrote up.
In that order?
All in that
Oh,
order.
gosh.
Nice chair.
But it can be moved through quickly if the chairman moves it along.
If you would.
If he would.
Are you saying we should move something in front of Tom?
Yeah, one more thing and I'm out of here.
Well, all the more reason.
Yeah.
Hey, you kept it going, that'd have been over if you hadn't said
Yeah, right. I saw how that was working. Indeed.
Make it snappy, Tom.
I'm going to, trust me.
Okay, we're back in
This may
session.
not be hooch now, but I'm ready for some.
Okay, there we go.
All right, Tom,
All
you're up.
right, well, we're gonna start here. This, today is Flag Day, and we should all remember that too. With the Green Up Day, and Jenny was there, and she knows how successful it really was. We had a fantastic time. The children had a very good time. It was great. We did more, except for the tires that 2 years ago, Indian Massacre Road, but we still did a lot of tires and everything else. And people were bringing in stuff beforehand and after, because they said, "Listen, I can't do it that day. We're going to do it another day." And so, I took care of everything on that. It worked out well. Tam donated the dumpster down at the Legion. The Legion was fantastic in allowing us to use the pavilion and everything down there. I thought I wrote a decent thank you to everyone involved with that.
Your hot dog was the best I've ever had in my entire life.
Well, I had one hot dog and 2 veggie burgers left. And that was just a guess. I didn't know how many people we were going to get. Next year I'm going to have to get some more, but I have a feeling. One of the things we did yesterday in the Solid Waste Alliance meeting is I kind of jumped on Michael a little bit, even though he wasn't involved with it, but it's the BCRC is that they scheduled that youth appreciation day for the same day. And I said, listen, Green Up Day has always been the first Saturday in May since it started 25 years ago. So why do you guys, well, that's not us, that's something with United Way and everything. I said, well, something has to be done. This shouldn't be. I said, now we're getting conflicting things. You want to get the kids involved with this, but then you want them to go out and have same things. But so Stu Hurd said that he was actually going to talk to the people about it and so forth. But next year it is scheduled for the same day. But I think that they're going to make them cognizant of the fact that we want to get that changed. Okay. Household Hazardous Waste Day. The thing when I remember last year I told you I wasn't very happy with the way things were running. We had a meeting up in Bennington and they did follow a lot of our suggestions and it was a lot better attended and people went through there much faster this year. They changed the entrance and there was 270 families and I think there was like 18 from Pound. So I mean it was pretty well attended. All right, and now we went to this. Let's go down here to the training. Bruce and I'm up to Manchester on May 14th for this training program. Fred was sick, unfortunately. We covered paints, fluorescents, batteries, electronics, and I was talking to a guy, and he's from out of New Hampshire, but he's in charge of the Northeast on this paint recycling, and they would be willing to come in give us a pallet or something for a day or a week or maybe even longer for paint collection in town for the panel residents. And then they'll come pick it up and it will be at no cost to us. So I'm really seriously looking into that. I think that's something that if we can do that and get rid of this stuff, then we won't have to take as much stuff for the household hazardous waste. Plus then I won't have to take all the stuff I get so much anyhow. Stuff dropped off. You know, you go down there, it's like, oh, somebody put a little quart of paint here and there, you know, they hide them in there and stuff, you know, things we found. But, we had the training that I really wanted to get with the fluorescents, so we are set up now. We are accepting fluorescents now. I was gonna wait till July 1st, but anybody can bring them in if they want to. They're limited to 10 a day. I'll have the things on the new handouts to go with the permits. But we are accepting them now. We have the one storage unit all set up. It's in place. It's running, and the oil it's so much easier. It's nicer. You can get in there, you can stand up, you can do the stuff, and then we have the fluorescents in the back of that unit. And we're using the old oil storage for batteries now, because that doesn't take up as much room. Okay, and we can't, when we do the paint day, if we do that, we can't take automotive paints, lacquers, thinners, and some of those things. They're explosive and so forth. Those are not allowed on that. But pretty much everything else is. You know, as I said, the old tire shed is gone. And you know, guys did a good job getting it tore down and everything. And then I used my skid loader in there because I've got foam-filled tires. And I did pull a few nails out of them, so it was worthwhile taking that in there to do it. But everything's working. Our recycling right now, we're gonna start getting charged more for cardboard. It's gonna happen. It's coming all over the country, and I've been receiving a lot of things from the other Alliance members and so forth. It was down Lancaster, Pennsylvania. One of the recyclers down there had to landfill 100,000 tons of cardboard and paper. There's just no market for it. So if you see it, I did send this one thing in here from the Vermont Digger. It's about some of the things that they were doing. It's in this, like page 2 and 9. It says legislature is up on state recycling things. You want to read that? It has what they were thinking about doing. Hopefully we're still going to be able to recycle it and so forth.
They're basically making the penalty less strict for people that are putting paper in their trash and stuff.
Right.
Initially, they were looking for a very large volume of that to be removed. They're now saying it's not necessary, and I think they're gonna buy some more time because of what you just said. There's no market.
No, there is no market, really. Okay, and now our electronics, we're going to be starting to get charged for the non-covered, which are radios, cell phones, fax machines, and so forth. And they're going to charge 15 cents a pound versus the 8 cents we receive for the other electronics. So I think we're going to let it go for this year and see how much it's really going to cost us. But perhaps next year, I mean, I'll get a good idea here before the end of the year, before next budget, and we'll see that maybe we will have to start charging a nominal fee to get rid of those non-covered electronics, so they're not allowed to be thrown in the trash. All right, but I think that, you know, we can skirt it out a little bit now, because it's only, you know, we're not using that much of it. You know, like one pallet full out of 12 is that, but still, you know, it's still pretty heavy because there's a lot of small things and they do fill up, and it gets pretty heavy. So that's usually a heavy pallet, you know. Okay. The Solid Waste Alliance, we had a meeting yesterday up in Arlington, and right now I think you'll see there's a BCRC thing on here. This is our third quarter bill. For that is $2,060, and is, you know, it's supposed to be 4,000 some. So right now we're at 39% with 1 quarter to go, but that's just going to be till the end of this month. But that one's going to be a large one because we had the big household hazardous waste day that will be in that last one. So it looks like we're probably, I'd say we're going to be at 60% of what our SWIP budget is. Michael's doing a pretty good job with that. And, that's coming along well. And then one other thing, we
Now
just,
that- Now that it's shown that it's under budget, if it comes out that way by the end of the year,
oh no, the end of the year, the end of this month.
so with
Yeah.
it being under budget, are they gonna reduce next year's cost?
No, and the reason being is that the difference is the grants that he gets. If the grants dry up, we're gonna be right up the top.
So it comes back.
Yes. That's the thing. He's getting grants that'll pay for all this stuff. If they dry up, then, I mean, we have to put that much in. Okay? I mean, you know, because it's just, it could get that, it could go that high. It'll not go any higher.
So the
but-
money that's left over each year, do roll it over for the following year in this?
Well, no, we have it in our budget. It's there in the transfer station's budget. It can go towards any of the other things, I suppose. It's just you know, if anything goes over, but it's,
Well, our swipe contract says this is what the cost is to the town. Do we not pay the money that's on our budget
no,
line
we
to-
just pay what he bills us.
Okay,
No, we're just paying what he bills.
all right.
So, no, we don't pay the,
So the money is left over and it goes back to the taxpayers if we.
yeah, exactly,
All right.
exactly.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yep, that's what it is. Yeah. No, we're gonna partner, the Alliance, all the members of the Alliance are gonna partner with TAM in recycling shingles. That has to start at the end of next year. And we won't be able to accept shingles at the transfer station anymore.
But they can take them.
They're gonna take him down here, and he's gonna have a remote up in like Sunderland or someplace. They're gonna have a place up there, at one of the transfer stations up there that the contractors can take the stuff into and dump them. They've gotta be clean loads. Nails are fine. And then he's gonna have it down here.
So
and then-
panel residents will be here.
Yeah, ours, yeah, I'll send, they have to go down there.
Okay.
I've sent them down there.
Yep.
And they're probably gonna get paid more than what we pay, you know, they charge. Yeah, we charge.
Well, they charge by the
Yeah.
ton down there.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, and then what it is, they grind the material up, and the fine material they use in asphalt. Now, what we're trying to do, the state of Vermont does not accept ground shingles and asphalt for highway projects. You can use it for private projects and so forth, but if an asphalt supplier is geared up to do state work, he's not gonna be able to change it. And there's a problem with that. So, what we're trying to do is, you know, we wanna talk to our elected officials that are gonna be in Montpelier about, you know, putting some pressure on the Department of Transportation, you know, to see what we can do, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And,
They have to find out what the
Yeah.
reason is technically and.
well, I
materialize.
have and I told, Trevor yesterday that I have a very good friend who's one of the top engineers in the state of Pennsylvania on highways and paving and stuff, and I'm gonna call him and see what
See what they do.
they're doing down there and stuff, and I'm gonna let him know. I'll probably talk to him this weekend. But then the other stuff is, about 60% of it is like 3/8 of an inch. And that can be mixed with gravel, and that'll reduce the need for magnesium or calcium chloride or stuff with your shoulders done. And we're gonna discuss it tomorrow. And Deb, I'm gonna talk to. She's gonna stop over and see me. But I think that it's gonna be right here. You know, it's gonna be here. So that's what we're doing. So. You know,
Good.
we're all getting together and trying to get ahead of the curve on this and so forth. So
You work quick.
you don't want to hear the rest of it. So no, I'll come over tomorrow and hang those things up somehow or other.
All right, thank you, Tom.
I'll take care of that.
And you take care of the painting and,
Yeah, I'll take a look at that and see what we have there and stuff. But,
thank you. Yeah.
We'll get that.
Question, you mentioned about oils and stuff. Is that something you guys pay to get rid of that,
No.
the motor oils and that's?
Motor oils, vegetable oils, that's free.
I mean, the town pay to get rid of that stuff?
No.
Or do you guys do that after?
we give it to the taxpayers that use it in their furnaces.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering, cause I'm looking for oil. I'm using my furnace.
That's right.
Yeah. Get in line.
They're doing that stuff, so.
Get in line.
Sign up, we never know how much comes.
Yep.
Okay.
Some days there's a lot, some days there's not, but I have enough I can store, right now about 130 gallons, which is way more than I could before, so.
Did we ever do anything with that old oil tank?
No, not yet. It's still sitting down there.
I mean,
It's empty, I mean, you bang on it, it's empty.
Oh, it is empty?
It sounds it anyhow. I gotta cut a lock off. And I'm waiting to get, I've got new locks coming for all those things. I'm getting them all keyed the same, new padlocks. I've got 8 of them ordered, and I'm not gonna cut those off till I get a new lock to put on it. I'm not gonna go buy another lock because I don't want somebody getting into it, you know what I mean?
Yep, all right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You guys have a nice
Thanks.
evening.
Hey, you're up next, Joel.
Joe, attaboy. I'm glad I snuck in for
I'm
you.
awake, I'm awake.
Take care.
Take care.
We actually just have one thing tonight, was the blacktop bids. We had one bid this year from Peckham.
Oh, interesting.
Price per ton to do South Stream Road was $72.65.
72.65.
Last year it was $62.40.
They can say, what's
They blame fuel and the liquid they mix in the asphalt went up pretty good. They closed the refinery and it's like fuel, you know, it's.
Yeah, well, everything went up here last month. I'm hoping it's gonna go back down.
So the total price on that is $168,838.60.
Okay. 838.60, okay.
All
And
right.
that's for what you went to bid out in the South Stream, and what did we budget for that? What was the state?
Well, 147. I budgeted at 67, thinking I'd be high.
Yeah, but so the state's gonna pay 140,
They're gonna pay 118 of the 147.
okay, that's what we wanna know.
It was 80%, wasn't it?
Yeah. The second one was Burrington Road. That was $85.70 a ton. That come out to $55,019.40. The third one was Dean Road. Price per ton on that was $120 for $31,920.04. So the total bid ended up being $255,778.04. So,
Are these the same materials for each of the three?
yes,
Yes.
So-
it's just the smaller roads, the longer travel.
Uh-huh.
It's set up and bringing it there, and it's
Oh, okay.
Kuiper Road, South Stream's nice, and
Well, it's a quick, shot, it's 2 miles.
Yeah.
all of a sudden you get going up to the bean, and
Yeah,
a little more hourly time.
We definitely should do South Stream Road.
How much we got in Blacktop, without me looking up,
About 205, I think.
205, and we basically, with all of this, is 255, and we're expecting to get a little bit back.
Well, we'll get 118,000 back.
But currently, we have 205 in the budget. And
Roughly, yeah.
I'm just wondering, you know, we hear all the time is we got too much money sitting here in this blacktop at the end, that's why we don't get blah. If we know we're getting money, you do South Stream, you pay the bill, they send you back.
Yeah, 118 out of that.
Yeah, so then you go ahead and do the next two.
Well, you know, if you wanna do one or the other, I probably wouldn't do Dean Road for 120 a ton.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think
see,
that's
now,
ridiculous. That's almost double.
All right, so what are we paying total if we do South Stream and Burrington?
it'll be about 223, 858.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're talking $18,000 that's not sitting there, so when we get money back.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, what's your pleasure, guys? You wanna go with his recommendation? Make a motion?
Or we can do all three of them, it don't matter to me, but I just think
Well,
that's
otherwise
an
you
awful high price to
Well,
run
you have to
down
put
and
that
do.
up for next year, and the question is whether it'll be higher next year or not.
So, yeah, I guess maybe I missed something there. The 168, 838 for the South Stream
Yeah.
Road, was that the project with the grant?
Yes,
So that's the same one that was previously 147.5.
well, that
Or-
was what I put in, for
was
the
an
grant for.
Okay.
That was figuring on $67 a ton.
That was our estimate.
Now we're up
Okay, all right,
to,
all right. But then is the grant still 80% of the cost, or is it
Yeah.
80% of
well,
the
our,
147?
well, it's 80% of the 147. What we'll
So
get
that
back
didn't-
is
So we have to make. it
117, pretty near 118,000. And we
Okay.
will have to make up the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so that cost is 168 minus the 118, so.
Yeah,
it's-
next
it's
year, we're gonna
240.
estimate at 120.
So
So,
it's, 50.
But if we did all three,
Well,
that's the high,
it,
which was this year was 120 per ton. If
And-
we estimated it for that, then,
yeah, it's, I call the guys, I talk to them, try to see about where the price is gonna go.
Mhm.
Is what it is, they're pretty
And I just want
busy
to make sure that,
this
so
year.
if we are considering not 168.8, we're considering 168.8 minus the.
118,
The
yeah.
118.
Yeah,
so we have the money in the budget to do all three.
no.
you
With the,
don't,
with the grant.
Oh, with the
With-
grant
Yeah,
back.
with the grant money,
But
yeah.
we have to pay that out, and
then
you
before
may
you
not
get it back.
get it back
Do we-
until,
So we can only use
December.
what's in the budget to pay it out before giving it back, is that true?
Well,
Is that
we
right?
probably have enough
Okay.
money in the budget because at the beginning of the year to pay it out, but we have to put the money back in.
yeah.
Part of the
We're gonna
budget.
get that money, right, so,
You get it in December, so it ain't like it's gonna be
Well,
next year.
it depends, it's usually around December we get them back,
So it's not
Class
that the
two.
money won't come back.
My
into the-
suggestion-
no, I
is-
understand that, so do we have the money is what I'm asking.
Yeah,
My suggestion is, just being a layman or whatever, do South Stream Road, and we finish the Burrington Road thing, and leave whatever that little bit of money is left in there. Let's not, because that is ridiculous, that price for,
120.
yeah, yeah, I know,
and
I know.
Dean Road, it isn't like there's millions of vehicles going up and down it either. I'm not classifying it by that, but still, I think we ought to do the ones we can afford to do, we still got a little bit of money left. We're spending money like water, you know what I mean? When we do the budget, we'll notice that. But this has to be done, and we got the grant for it, and it's,
Yeah.
and that's the place.
Oh,
to do
yeah,
it.
definitely.
Okay, so that was a motion to
It's
do,
just-
Do South
Burrington,
Stream Road
Burrington,
and
and Burrington Road.
I got a motion, get a second?
I'll second.
All right, any
Because
further
then
discussion?
People won't be saying that, why don't they finish something? That's the only reason I want to finish that Burrington Road, so it's
I'm
done.
with you. Any further comments?
Nope.
All those in
Whatever you
favor
guys
say.
want, aye.
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 You didn't wanna pick your tools up after going 35 over it, that's all.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, I got great suspension, I guess.
If we take the money from somewhere else, then we wouldn't be able to spend it on that, anything until we got money back, so.
So that's my spiel, any questions, anything?
Magnesium chloride I signed, right?
Yeah, sign
other
that,
stuff is
give
all
it back
done.
to
Enter
me,
it
or-
into the minutes that it was
Okay.
approved.
Okay.
Well, your excuse, you better go get some rest. You've
That
been
should
putting in a
keep
lot of
for
late
now.
nights here.
and then give me that, and I'll fax it unless you, or, I'll just scan it in and send it back to them unless you want to.
Website newsletter, what we got on that? We already talked about the newsletter, and that, got more to say on that?
Does anyone need anything on the website?
Well, the policy's still to come, right? So that, we're gonna talk about that on new business.
Back into it.
Yes, that's still on the line here.
Yeah, all right, so,
Anything else?
Yeah.
Nothing else on those two?
Yeah,
We
I-
have enough to do.
I don't think so.
Okay,
That's
now we got
all.
people sitting here.
Email address and the-
Large gathering ordinance.
Yeah.
Anything else you want me to copy?
Okay. We made the changes that was recommended by Ronnie last week.
And the sheriff corrected some of
Corrected
the
a
wording
paragraph
for
wording.
us.
Yep, yep.
I think we just should go with it.
Is that a motion to move?
Motion to move
approve.
to, that's
To
our.
approve.
Can I ask just a
Adopt.
couple quick
Just a minute,
questions?
we'll have a discussion. Got a motion to approve?
Adopt.
Adopt.
Adopt, motion to adopt.
Second?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, now
Then you can
discussion.
discuss it.
Now discussion. Go ahead.
Well, I had a couple quick questions. Now that I got to go through it, I didn't have really time the other night to go through it, so I just wanted to, I finally read through some of the stuff. Nothing really major on it. I mean, like I said, don't mind doing a thing on it. I just have a few ideas, I guess, that might put it out as an idea. Not so much as having this ordinance in, as it is just to say, let's get the people down here, like me coming in, sitting here saying, this is what I want to do. Have no problem with doing that. And I didn't really see where it was like saying we had to do that in here, unless I missed it, but I think something like that, just saying, come on down, so everybody knows what it is.
That'll go on our
Quick,
website.
quick and simple things, yeah. to come
It'll
in.
go on our website that a new ordinance is in place and that you need to come and apply for that sort of stuff.
Okay. The only other thing I had was, it's saying here for that very first part, it's saying to regulate, license, tax, or prohibit different things. Are you guys going to be saying, like, if I said I want to have a circus or small circus or something, you go, oh, I don't want that? Is that something that's going to be involved with this thing, or is it the town's decision, or is it? I mean, if I'm-
It's again, it's based on number of people is what you gotta look at. Now, if you're coming in here and you're having a small kiddie ride at your place and you're gonna have less than 350 people at that, you're not coming in here.
Mhm.
But if you're gonna come down like they did with the circus and set up a circus and stuff, then yeah, they're gonna come in here.
Yeah.
But do we have does the
I mean-
select board have the power to say, no, we don't want you to do that?
Right.
Yes,
That's what he's asking.
sure. That's why we have the regulation in the ordinance. And I don't see us doing that unless somebody's coming in here that's a neighbor and he's got a very valid reason, a legal reason, and can sway the board to say no. Otherwise, I don't see us stopping anything. All we're looking for is to make sure that it's safe, sanitary, and go on with the show. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's where I'm at too. I'm not against anybody having any kind of an event, but if they inform us, then by informing us, the neighbors are gonna get informed.
Yes, they will.
And I mean, if there is some, like Nelson said, if there's a legitimate reason, you know, I wouldn't wanna, shoot out at the OK Corral and you're shooting across the other guy's property. I wouldn't like that.
Right.
If we have a quick draw.
As far as your circus or something.
Right.
So should we have verbiage in it that says, as long as it's a reasonable request, unless there's some extenuating circumstance to why we would have an issue with it,
I think
the events will be
I think that
accepted?
I think they vary too much to try to word everything specifically for whatever type of event you're gonna wanna deal with. I think we as a board should have enough common sense when it gets in front of us to decide whether it's appropriate or not appropriate. Now, like Ronnie said, you could say, I'm gonna have a quick draw shootout down at your place, and you're gonna do it up on your Dream Acres. There might be neighbors that might be concerned where those bullets are going. Now, they might come in and say something to us, and then you can come in and say, well, here's what we're doing, we're shooting into a bank, and this is all.
Yeah.
And then we make that decision versus saying, something in here says, well, if you're gonna do shooting, we're gonna say no. No, that's not what we're
Okay.
gonna do in here.
But that's based on who's currently on the board. I mean, what if you get people in and they're on the board and they're just anti-Second Amendment?
But they could also make a new ordinance.
Well, that's
could
true
just make
too,
up-
but
that's
not my point. My point is if it's subjective, then
The
it's
person
subjective.
has
Right.
the right to appeal this to the court.
Okay.
If this board was to do something against the Second Amendment that would not hold up in court, guess what? They're gonna get their permit. And we'll
then-
get a slap on the wrist because we're trying to stop something when we legally can't.
And I just want to ask a question about the civil penalties. Is that what got added?
No.
I don't
No,
know.
it's
That,
already
in.
No.
that was already in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were in there. Basically.
Well, I mean, because there's two different things. There's the waiver fee, which is, and then there's the first offense. I don't remember a first offense on the civil penalties being 400. I thought it was 250. Didn't something get added here, or am I
No, that's
remembering
where it
wrong?
was. The waiver, what we're looking, a waiver fee basically means you didn't come in and get your permit.
Right.
Now you're talking to us, it's gonna cost you 250 instead of 100, but now if somebody says, no, they're not gonna do that, they go ahead and open up their thing, we're gonna have to hire a lawyer, we're gonna have to take them to court, and $400 is nothing because you'll spend that in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and now, and sorry, my last question is going to be about the 45 days, I guess. So what happens if somebody does come in, or at least the time cut off? What happens if somebody is putting together an event and they forgot to apply and they come
They
in
run
at
into the
35?
last 10 days,
Yeah, no, well, what if it's 30, what if it's 40 days?
that's our job to make
Yeah.
that decision, whether we say yay or nay.
If you're-
Okay,
if
okay,
you're-
we can still
We
grant
can
it.
still decide.
Always
on what's-
overrule
what's
something,
happening.
sure.
Well, It's our
The main feature was to
ordinance,
get
and it's
people
our
to come
rule.
in.
But if you're creating that
that's the
large
main-
an event and you forget something this major, I'd be very worried about your event being successful.
Well, it depends on the event, because this could be remember, this is a new policy, it didn't exist until now.
That's
So,
right.
it could be that people just didn't think about that, but they got all their other ducks in a row, and
You'd be
then, I
surpri-
thought you were gonna get I thought you were gonna,
You'd be surprised how many people forget to even go to the state when it's 3,000 people. But the state will let you know, and they usually don't say no, but they want you to go through the steps. And that's where I think reasonable people will do the same. Look
Okay.
at, I've been putting this together, I've hired all these people for the sanitation, I've hired the people to come with their vendings and so forth, and I forgot you.
Yeah.
I paid all this money out, are you gonna shut me down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I notified the rescue squad and the fire department and everybody, but she said, I didn't, for some reason, I don't know
Well,
why.
exactly.
A few days went by and I'm a little bit late flying.
But if you come in at 30 days and say, oh, I didn't know I had to do all those things,
Well, that's a
then we're
different
gonna say no. You know, so.
Well, then
No, I mean,
he's
that's-
gotta
yeah,
run
that's
around and
not
do a
what I
little
was
of
getting
that.
And I
Or
did
she.
that all last year, we did that, we
Yeah.
went through and checked everybody, and they're like, oh, you don't need to, you're not gonna be big enough, whatever, and they
Yeah.
didn't. The ambulance service did come up and we
Yeah.
were helping out with them, so.
No.
But, everybody else is like, no,
I
we
mean, I
don't need to be
think,
there,
I think
so.
the thing is, like, we're Pownell and we're humans and we're not, it's not like, you know, it going through a bank system and you're denied something because the computer
didn't
was like,
do right.
you know, we're all humans here. And
Yeah.
I think we're all, like, I mean, I think on this one I can speak for all of us, that we all support stuff happening in the town.
absolutely.
So I don't foresee anybody, certainly on this board, stopping an event from happening.
Well, there's a
I
different way.
mean, maybe a
they-
brothel is not gonna be something that I would vote for, but, you know.
Well, I might.
Well, you might. My dad definitely would have.
But, and who knows? Nowadays, you can look at them both ways. and
Well,
they
it
have
might be legal in Lyle, I don't know.
the-
Well, I'm gonna
the
switch
bo-
careers.
You need jobs. But basically, did you have much trouble, I'm gonna get back on the subject we should be on. The last time you came in, we didn't have this permit process to go through, but you went through pretty much everything that is on this permit.
Yeah,
It's just you didn't fill out the
For
form.
me, I don't know, I'm only speaking for me, so that, everybody else, if they're not gonna come into meetings, it's up to
But you're the
them,
only one
so.
here, so you're the only one to hear from.
But did you
So-
find it hard coming in front of us to ask for those things?
No, I don't, that's why it don't bother me to be
But I
here,
wasn't
so.
here, so now it's gonna be really hard.
Yes, I figured that.
Yeah.
Well, some people can be tough.
No, I mean, like I said, that's, I really don't have any issues with it, it's just those things that, I've always, and that's where I'm trying to get over myself. I've always had issues with people, just soon as somebody comes out and say, you're in control, or I'm gonna control what you're doing, I get offensive.
I don't know
I don't
what you're
like that,
talking
you know?
about. I
Yeah.
don't know anyone else in this room who's like that.
But, I mean, that's, I do, and that's me trying to get over that kind of stuff, so,
Yeah.
Hey.
I get offensive with, I've had
Okay.
that
Any more-
issue with states, so
Any more discussion on this?
it comes down to that.
All I wanna say
That's
is
it.
reference to the select board is, the last 20, 30 years since I've even paid any attention, I ain't been here that long, but, that on this board or what, but anyway, there's always a pretty good cross-section of people. no matter what. You go back a ways, you had the same people, only different names.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thoughts. You had your, you know, guys like me, the conservative one, they had some liberals or whatever. That's what makes it a board.
There's
And
always
if you
someone
get
with
too
blue
far one
hair.
way, the town votes you out anyway.
Yeah, and I cannot, and I don't know how many years I've been on, 20, 25, 30, or whatever it is, but I cannot think of one time when this board has ever said no to someone that has come to it to ask for a function like a car show or any of that stuff.
No, we've always, I thought, been very good about, I mean, some of the things we had to ask quite a few questions because it involved more than, you come here, stuff was on your property. You had things that wasn't all on their property.
Right.
And they had things that were sanctioned and not sanctioned. You know, but I mean, people came in for a tractor pull or this or that. And, I mean,
We
come
always
on.
said they'd go.
We said, look, as long as you make it as safe as you can and you comply with the sanitation and the other thing, we're fine, go ahead.
Yeah,
me-
the
I-
only thing that we've done is we made it so it's in writing now.
I
That's-
do
that's
have
it.
one question. If there are any events that are arranged that, if we pass this ordinance this evening, anything that's arranged that's less than 45 days out, are we gonna agree is exempt from it?
You mean,
Things
as
held
of this
within 45
moment,
days.
within the next 45 days?
Correct.
I haven't heard of anything being done. Usually come to zoning and ask for that.
Well, I mean, like the movie that's happening in the baseball field.
You're gonna have a visitor next week who is going to ask to hold an event.
I would say,
And this becomes effective 60 days.
yeah, so you got 60 days before.
So they
it's
still have
actually
time? Or like the July 4th event at the Legion?
effective. Well, if it takes
Well, if it
60
takes
days to
the
be
60
effective,
days, it'll
fine.
be in-
This takes 60 days to become effective.
So any,
The
okay,
person
great,
It'll
okay.
have an
still
effective
got
will
it.
date.
come to the board and present the event, is willing to comply with all your requirements.
Yeah.
And the board has the ability to yes or no, and to set your same limits that had been done previously, whether or not, you know, you're.
Whether there's a form
This
or
is
not,
the
whether there's a
guideline.
form and
Yeah.
$100
Right.
paid.
I just don't
This
want,
is the guideline.
I don't want the, there's the family movie that's happening outdoors at the, Little League field next Friday, presented by, I forget which church it is. But I don't wanna see them get shut down because we're gonna pass this ordinance tonight.
No, it's
Come on, they
60.
wouldn't be shut down anyways. I don't see us saying no to that.
I know, but,
No.
okay.
No. The answer is no. They're not gonna shut them down.
So don't worry if anyone's watching and worrying. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do here.
Our thoughts are, we
Hi,
didn't
Legion.
pass this to instantly hurt somebody.
No, and we're not doing it
No.
for that
We had-
purpose.
we've
And I
been-
just wanna make
we
sure
should have
people aren't
passed it a
worried
couple
if there's
weeks
any-
ago. It's like everything
But not only
else, it
that, but
takes
if,
time.
if this is,
We're
was
not
the-
stuffing anything down anybody's
something
throat.
No,
here.
no, that's what I'm making sure that people aren't worried about.
Exempted from this ordinance are events held by, sponsored, or promoted by the town panel on public property, youth sports, recreational game, school events, and we're doing this on a ball field.
And can we, well,
And who's
let's,
putting it on?
can we sponsor a
The church, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So can
I
we
mean,
say we're gonna sponsor it, or we're, you know,
Well,
just
they'll
to
come
make them
in and
exempt?
we'll come in and we'll support it.
Okay.
It sounds like they're coming in.
And then they don't know, are they coming in?
No.
No,
No, you said
no one's
somebody
coming
else
in,
is coming in.
that's not what I'm talking, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just something I know about that's happening. And then the July 4th picnic at the Legion, I
And
know
when is
that's
this,
happening.
I know I saw it somewhere. When's it supposed to happen? This
The movie?
Yeah,
A week from tomorrow.
yeah, it's done. That's gonna happen.
And it looks like it's got a lot of traction, so I
Well,
think
it's
it's
good.
gonna be
It's gonna
well
go-
attended,
that's what
which
you
is
want.
awesome, yeah.
So when it's gonna show Black Panther?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good, we're all going.
Are you good with this?
Yeah, we're all we just advertised and they're gonna have more people.
Well, July 4th at the Legion. Okay, you're good with it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye. 60 days, it'll take effect. Okay, moving on. Last, website policy first. We'll do that.
Okay,
we
so
had
this
it?
was,
Do we have a copy of that?
Yeah, it's somewhere here. Last week.
no, we put it out last week, or
See you guys later.
last week.
Take it easy.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Aye.
It may not have been in this week's package.
Jeff, here's mine.
I have another copy. Oh, sorry about that. So, just to open it up, the purpose of this is to set a standard so that we wouldn't be having to talk about things that are appropriate, aren't appropriate, and we wouldn't have to have those conversations anymore. The second thing is, I couldn't find a town that didn't have a policy that had a website. In electronics communications. So I just wanted to set some standards for just to make the things move a little bit smoother, and of course to be transparent to the people of Pownell as to what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate, and what is the scope of what we're doing. Both our website and our newsletter or any other electronic communications. This was
From the town.
From the town. So it has to do with town, it's town policy. You can't, I wouldn't put a,
And this is for the town website only.
right, that's correct. And town-sponsored communications, so it would apply to the newsletter as well.
Do you want to read that one?
No, I didn't see it.
Now, I distributed this last week, not to talk about last week, but just so people would have it and could go through it and then provide feedback if you had any.
And it doesn't
I don't have.
withhold any of us from, in the future, making
It was
changes to
last
this
week's.
policy.
No, but I don't
What's
have it.
that?
But we can basically make changes, in the future too. If we agree to
Oh,
this,
absolutely.
if this
Absolutely.
isn't set in
Well, in
stone.
fact, I would even point out that, we're gonna get our town administrator here pretty soon. This is more like policy guidelines, so that we can agree on what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate. But I would turn this over to the town administrator for his recommendations on it too, because it doesn't have, and it probably should go through the lawyer. It probably should have a privacy policy, it should probably have how do we handle information that we get from people who sign up, who opt into newsletters or opt into mailings or anything that's done through the website.
Yeah, basically hold us harmless if somebody breaks into the database that has all the names and addresses.
Yeah, so there's gonna be some things that would make the policy more official. But this is just something to guide us for what is appropriate and what is not appropriate for town communications.
Well, it sounds to me from what you just said that we should wait and have our new administrator that we hire review this and see and give us some input, and then at that point, have a lawyer review it after that, before we actually move on it and make it official.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea. And I'm open to that too. So if people have this, they can look at it, they can add to it, subtract. What does this board want? What do we want to communicate to?
We want
Because
you-
policies do vary.
We want you to send this to us electronically
All right,
and put it up on our website so that other people can look at it and comment.
all right, we'll do that.
Doesn't matter to me.
Can I ask a question at this?
Sure.
I'm looking at section C, other content. I guess I'm wondering, it says religious organizations located in town. Wouldn't that be covered by not-for-profit organizations instead of delineating them specifically? That seems redundant.
It might be, and maybe that's a good question for the lawyer.
Yeah.
But it was, what I did with this policy is I looked at multiple towns.
Oh,
And what I did, just
Yeah.
to let everybody know how I went about this. I went to like 25, 30 towns on, I didn't actually go there, I went there.
right.
Yeah, I went to the
website.
sites,
You went to their
and I
sites.
started looking at newsletters, and what kind of stuff is in newsletters, what's not in newsletters, what kind of language is in it, and what's the frequency. And I can tell you that, and Jenny, just none of this was meant as an attack in any way.
I didn't feel attacked, Bob. I felt micromanaged, but you're welcome to do whatever you like. You're doing the newsletter. It makes no difference to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'd heard some information otherwise, but that's all right.
I've never said I felt attacked by you. So if you heard information like that, that's incorrect and untrue.
All right, then we'll
Nope,
just, then we'll go with the
enough.
policy.
I know, well, I
So
just don't
I'm-
wanna be told I'm attacking someone when I
No.
never did, or felt attacked. I never felt attacked
Okay.
Okay.
by anyone.
All right.
So you were saying that
So, yes. So, one of the things that I noticed about the newsletters when I looked at them is that when they're going out once a month, a lot of times, and I liked your idea about opting in when you were talking about that for both the newsletter and you were talking about it for the annual report, would also be the same for the newsletter. It may be a little bit more cost, but where I want to go with this is something that's a little more elaborate and that's monthly. Monthly was the most frequent I could find with any other town. About 60% of them were monthly, and about 40% of the towns that I looked at were quarterly. But what you get with that is more of a story, and it's more of a tracking. And so, and you've got a lot more municipal content in it. Unfortunately, we're going to lose some of the other content, but I think for transparency, and that was really why I was a strong supporter of a newsletter, was to be let the town know what their government is doing and how it operates. That was a more important thing to me. I'm really glad that you're continuing because there's a lot of good information in there. But I would have to question whether or not that was appropriate. I also have to think appropriate for the government.
It really doesn't matter. Let's not rehash, because it
I'm
doesn't
not
matter.
rehashing.
Okay.
I'm just telling. I'm just
Make
giving
a
my
comment.
opinion on
Make
No,
it.
but it's just done.
The
Let's
thing is, the
move on.
more content you have that's not government related, the more it adds to the town administrator when it finally gets turned over. And just to put it in perspective, if it's a 5-hour-a-week job, it's 17% of everything a part-time resource will do. It's 12.5% of a full-time resource, and we talked about how much it costs for a resource to be able to administer one of these things. I'm hoping that I'm not going to be doing it very long, that the town administrator is going to pick it up fairly quickly. And then you can include things like budget updates, how are you tracking toward the budget and things like that.
No, I'm not questioning that content, I was just questioning, it sounds like there's not-for-profits and that would cover.
No, that's a very good question. That's a good question, and it does sound like it might be redundant. I think it's going to take some investigation, maybe on my part, to go
And-
find out
right.
why it's separated.
Right.
The
And a
reason
lawyer-
this was cut and pasted from multiple policies.
Policies, okay. So the places you looked had policies, as what, you were looking at both the content that they had,
And the
if they had a
policy.
policies, and sort of piece that together here.
That's
as a
exactly right.
Beginning, sort of key ideas to start the communication.
Right, and the reason I like the opt-in and be able to print it and to be able to mail it is because now one form of communication covers those people who are online and like to be able to get it online, and also those people, you can go in and sign up for your grandma who doesn't have the internet
Right.
or whatever, or grandfather. I don't know.
When you researched all of these, was the town administrator or a town manager actually doing this? Because I don't know that it's a town administrator function. It takes a long time.
Oh, you
To
mean
put
putting,
these
you
together.
mean putting it together, putting
Yeah.
the newsletter together?
Well, that's part of why you don't do the frequency every week.
No, the
right?
less frequently you do it, the longer it's gonna take. You still have to gather the
Here-
information
here's-
each
here's-
week.
here's where I'm with
It's gonna
that.
take a long time.
I know it's gonna be the select board deciding what this person's doing,
Yeah,
but this might be low on the scale, and he might say that someone in the office is gonna do it.
yeah.
I think we'll get input from him as well. But the catch is, I think it'll be the town administrator's responsibility to make sure that policy is followed and what's putting in there, whether it's Linda's putting it in there, or the lister, or me, or whoever.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it's gonna be consolidating it, right? The town administrator will be giving us budget reports and
Oh, yeah.
tracking the budget. That's a very important piece that's gonna go into the newsletter. We can reach out to Joel probably to get what are our, what projects are we working on? When do we see
What's
road
being blacktop
closures?
when?
What's gonna be, yeah, exactly.
sure.
What are our future projects? So, so that's what I'm thinking, there's gonna be somebody who's going to consolidate that information, get it into the newsletter, and then send it out, and then either send it out or just sign it up for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's gonna be a downloadable PDF, or if it's gonna be,
Well,
the same
I
format
think what'll
that we were
happen is
using in the past.
when somebody gets onto this, it's like running your own webpage or anything else. There is time consumption with it if you're gonna do it in a large detail. And basically what happens is as people can check my website, you're lucky to see very little happening there. Ronnie's, I haven't seen anything happen there since I saw him create it.
That's right.
Ronnie has a website.
Here's what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is these are things that exist that we can report to the town on.
Yeah.
The budget report is gonna be, that should exist anyway, so that's something that you can attach.
Right.
We do have a list of projects that are rolling, and we can keep those on there and give a project update. And of course, the you know, it's just a schedule of events, very
again-
similar to what's in the current newsletter.
Yeah, and again, I think
previous
that's where we'll see where the town administrator, and then there's gonna have to be some legal review of what they feel this content should be. Based on, we made some
All
comments
right, so,
ourselves.
so the action item is I'll send it to everybody electronically. I think
Yes,
everybody, well, actually, not everybody has it, sorry.
Yeah,
I will send it to the entire select board with one-way communication with just that electronic. I'll put your question in it about why,
Okay.
is that redundant? And it may be, I
I
honestly
don't
don't know, that's a good question.
Yep. Okay. Anything else on that?
No, I think that's it.
Thank you. Okay, I need the only thing we got left is legal, and I need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion, is it?
One's to do with contract, no, it's gonna be quick. One is to do with a contract, and the other is to do with a response to our auditors. Which one would you like to do first? Need a motion to go in executive session for?
Motion to go into executive session to talk contract.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye.